Hey everyone, and welcome to RezoCast episode 132. This is Lego, and I've got with me Hove76.
Why is that funny?
Just because that's all there is. It's just me and you. For now, Mana might join us later. But
I just want to say before you get started real quick, because
go for it.
Kim just reminded me, she just put in chat with her 5-month sub, which thank you very much. Said we're in the end game now, which was like the best possible episode title last week. That was so perfect.
It was perfect for that movie coming out, and obviously, like, I mean, I'm not going to put the spoiler thing out there yet, but later on in the podcast, we are definitely going to spoil the heck out of Endgame because I can't wait to talk about it. Like, I just saw it again this morning, and so I'm like on the hype level right now. Like, I'm holding everything inside.
Just
right
hope
now.
that you at least know what's happening, because Lego and I already spent it was like an hour and 10-minute phone call talking about Endgame, like everything we liked. So this will be a little bit more like in depth, kind of. I think. I mean, as in depth as I'm able to talk.
Yeah, it's funny too that you say that, because I was thinking about after we both had watched it that day, and then you called me, and my wife came home later, and she was like, "What'd you do like after the movie?" And I was like, "I talked to Hove for like a while."
About what?
She was like,
about
on the phone.
movie?
Yeah, about the movie. We just talked for a really long time. There's so much in there, but we're not going to talk about it right now. But we are going to talk about it later, and we'll let you know when that is. This week, for me personally, we're on the last week of Revelry. So if you're tired of the grenade spam in Destiny, it's almost done. We just have a little bit longer left, and I have still been playing Rumble with the double specials, enjoying Arbalest, which Hove, I meant to ask you, which I'll ask you in a second, but if you had gotten Arbalest, I'll just go ahead and ask you. Have you gotten Arbalest yet?
I think, like, can it just magically appear in your account without you playing?
No, that's not how it works.
Oh, well then no.
I haven't gotten it. So it's not, getting it is not that hard. There's not many triumphs, and you can't get it after this event's over.
Not even, yeah, you can. It goes into the loot pool, it said.
Oh, in the loophole. Okay, I read that.
Pretty sure
that's
what it said in the TWAB today.
Okay, I thought that was a problem with people not getting something.
People who didn't have Forsaken, it wasn't going into their loot pool when they were looking into it.
But people who just didn't complete the thing, it just goes in the loot pool after this anyway.
I believe so, yeah. Like Thunderlord. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, man, it is a pretty fun gun. Like, it takes a second to get used to, but
keep hearing that.
Just having a gun with a short zoom scope, I didn't realize, because it's something a lot of people complain about with snipers in Destiny 2. People are like, well, I would use snipers more if there were more of them with short zoom scopes. And I was like, but you can still snipe, because you can, but I feel like I get what they're saying now.
It's a totally different world.
It's so different. You can actually drag snipe when someone's like really close to you. You can just be like, whoa, and just follow them and immediately get that headshot. And Arbalest is like, it's like Queen Breakers, kind of like how you can just kind of drag it, and it's like, oh, I wasn't really aiming at their head, but he gave it to me anyway, kind of thing.
Well, you know what I can't believe that we never brought up? The fact that it's a kinetic linear fusion, right?
Yeah.
So doesn't it give you hope for kinetic fusion rifles someday?
It does, but what's a bummer is it would be an exotic. Like, I just want them to just be in the loophole. The same way that I want there to be legendary heavy fusion, rifles, or legendary snipers in the heavy slot, they're just always, they keep making them exotic, and I don't know why. Like, why can't it just be a sniper in the heavy slot that acts like it used to pre-Forsaken? That would be great. Because what made me think of that was watching the Mayhem montage that I did a long time ago, because it showed I killed so many Sunbreakers and Warlocks out of their super with just a fusion rifle, and I was like, man, that would be cool if I could do that with a power weapon instead of having to use Wardcliff. That's the only way you can kill supers with heavy, or that's like the most reliable anyway. So I don't know.
I do want to say though, it doesn't even have anything to do with Destiny. This is gonna sound like a bunch of bullshit because I still somehow bring it up every week, but I've been really sucked back into playing God of War.
Oh, I saw you on that actually.
Well, because you know how like a couple times I told you like I had started a playthrough, and I started it on like the next to highest difficulty. It's called a Give Me a Challenge, and I was like, this is too easy. let me do it on Give Me God of War. Except I accidentally started a fresh game on Give Me God of War, not a new game plus. So I didn't have, I started at level 1 and enemies started at level 7. And that really makes you like get into blocking as opposed to just attacking and moving. And I'm just too lazy to like think that much. And the beginning of the game is a lot of setup, so there's a lot of like cutscenes, and I was like, "Fuck! Like I don't want to redo this again." So I didn't for a while. But then I did. I finally started a new game plus on Give Me God of War, and I'm still probably only like 15% of the way through because I've been doing all the side stuff. But like I've been playing it, not even skipping the cutscenes. I've been playing it again, like for the first time, like watching everything, and so that's been taking up a lot of my time. Also, I got back into Overwatch again, Overwatch comp.
Right, because there were several nights this week where I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, we're playing over," but it like seemed like a serious session, and I was like, "Okay, you know."
Well, I mean, we generally play like it's tough. Even if you like start out, you win like 2 or 3 games in comp. You're that's like you're pushing it. You're bound to pick up some idiot blueberries who all pick DPS, and you have no healers, and it's just then you lose and you're pissed. So we generally play like 2 or 3 real games, then we'll fuck around, and then.
Relating it to comp like in Destiny, like if I get a team rolling in Destiny, it's like you don't really want to stop once you get going, unless you get on some sort of losing streak or something. You just need to reset. I know it's not the same
thing with that though, and it's kind of funny because it's the opposite of what happens in Destiny that we complain about, but people complain about in Overwatch. They're a lot better at matching you against similar stacks. Now they're 6-man teams, but if you go in with a 2-stack, there's a good chance that the other team will have a 2 or a 3-stack. If you go in with a 5-stack, the other team's going to be a 5-stack and a single or a 6-stack. Right. So we don't have generally 6 people. Even if we have 6, it's not 6 of us that play together a lot. So if we go in as a 6-stack, like if we get a whole team going, any 6-stack we run against is probably more cohesive. Like we're better off going in with 2 or 3 people and just kind of hoping for blueberry. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, there was a whole thread on, I don't know if it was normal Destiny Reddit or the Crucible playbook, but it was like a trick of getting your people who were trying to get their recluse and a way to run solo for so long and then run duo, but not to run with a full team because then you'll face a full team. Kind of the same concept, except with Overwatch, I imagine it's even more exaggerated because there's more players on the field
and roles, like
and roles too. Yeah. Right.
Which become even more important in comp. Like I've had games where like there's 4 blueberries and they all pick DPS, and we're like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna lose. And so then like Dewey and I will pick a tank and a healer just to like try to balance it out.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get shit on. But like every once in a while you find a team that like they just by some miracle of God that 4 DPS work. But it's a crapshoot. I mean, every game like that has problems. Don't get me wrong, they're not perfect, but whatever. But no, Overwatch is a lot of fun. I still think you should get it and learn it and play it with us.
Yeah, I probably should. It would probably be fun, and I'd find some role that I enjoy.
Oh, absolutely. You know? And it would take, I guarantee you, here's the problem with it. I didn't like it at first. Like, it takes a while because there's so many characters that are so different. Not like, oh, what grenade do they have? Like Destiny. You know, like, what's their grenade and their super? Like, everything is different about them. Most characters can't sprint. Most characters can't ADS. Like, that's specific to certain characters. But once you find one, like, I've always played like a character for a while, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try a new one, and then I play that for a while. So I'm still today learning new characters. Like that's what keeps it. Like it can be very refreshing in that sense.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem is I like playing a game and mastering that game and not having a lot outside of it. So between like PUBG and this and Destiny, and then also Apex, you know, those are like 3 that I kind of go back and forth between now. Not saying I wouldn't pick up another one, just it's hard for me to get to that point.
But like I said, on that same vein, like Overwatch can satisfy a lot of kind of content droughts across other games.
Yeah.
Because even though it's the same game, there's like 20 characters, and they're all so different. I mean, there's some that play similar, but I mean, some characters you play so completely differently that like if you would try to play like a roadhog, like you try to play a soldier. Not that this means anything to you. You're gonna be completely ineffective. You're gonna just die. Like it's not gonna be good. So it lets you take a long time to master different things. Like I kind of do the same thing. Like I said, I get a character, I play him a lot until I really have it down, and then I'm kind of like, I want to try a new challenge, and I can do that within the game.
Yeah, you actually reminded me just now saying content drought of something that I heard this week or this past week. So I may have brought it up on the podcast before. I'm sure I did. Don't know how much in detail, but Crucible Radio had their last episode, not last week, but I think the week before, because they just came out with their new podcast. At everyone, just wanted to give a shout out, congrats to those guys for getting their new podcast out, ending their old one on a really cool note. Something they did, two things. The first thing is they did 2 episodes that were like a recap of all their previous episodes, and so it was like a basically, if you wanted to learn how to get good at the Crucible, there's these 2 episodes that have all these different, like, Ninja with Noel and Ramblin' and Holtzman and all these people come on and give just the best of each person's advice that they gave. And then like their sports psych Steve and all these other people.
Did you get a clip in there?
I didn't on that.
Oh.
What I did get to do though is, so just first of all, for that segment, go listen to that if you want like a how to get good sort of thing. If you're just like, if you want to improve, it's a part 1 part 2 episode series that's really good. And then secondly, their last episode, we did get to do like a farewell to the hosts, Wayne, Birds and Bones, and I got to record a piece for that. And also somebody else who recorded a piece for that was John Wisniewski, recorded a piece for them after he left Bungie. And I wanted to bring it up because he had a segment where when he started talking, and of course he like said his farewell to CR, but also he mentioned leaving Bungie, and he mentioned like the game is in good hands. I left it like on good terms. The people who are in charge of it now care very much about the Crucible. It's not like they're dropping the Crucible. And he made a point to bring that up and how much he thinks like Crucible is going to play a role kind of in the future. These aren't his exact words, but you can go listen to that episode, and there's a portion where Wisniewski's talking about those things. And I thought it was really interesting given the lack of, like, people aren't really talking about it that much, all these people leaving. And I thought that was an interesting thing to think about, because we're kind of in a point right now where people are like, what's going on with the Crucible? Even with the speaking of that trials thing.
Before we get off that, I want to say, not only did John and Josh leave that same day, but we had 2 more people leave on the same day last week or this week.
Last week, yeah.
One of the 2.
Story, one of the lore people left, and then also a raid designer. Joe Blackburn, yeah. So pretty big names taking off right now.
Like I said, I'm still. You will not convince me otherwise, because nobody's gonna come out and ever say like really why people
Joe
left.
Roth.
Yeah. I still am not saying that it means that there's any turmoil or people left on bad terms. I believe they left on good terms. But when you have that many fairly senior designers leave a game on the same day twice now, there's some changes coming. Like, things are going in a different direction. It means something.
Yeah. I'm still, there's part of me that is with you, and there's part of me that is like, maybe not, but probably. That's kind of where I'm at right now, because there are a lot of other game devs out there. There was even a Reddit article recently by someone lived in a city and had a lot of friends in different studios in that city. And he was like, I have a lot of friends who they're just at a place for 5 years and they're like, I got to do something else. I can't be involved in the same thing. And bringing in fresh new blood always does.
I agree.
Create more innovative stuff. So,
but like I said, 2 1 week, 2 another week, all during this period of silence, all right after Activision lets the game go. It's not a coincidence, man. It's just not.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was something else. Oh, the other thing that happened this week, the tweet that went out. So if you aren't on social media, somebody a particular person who has done a tweet like this before is imitating Bungie and putting out I can't remember what the last one was, but the last
I
one
didn't
was
even know
more of a
about another
jokey
one.
joke. Like it was like not as uh it wasn't as controversial of a thing to do, I guess. And this one, like he posing as Bungie posted a tweet that was Trials is coming back and had a whole trailer made and everything, which might have been like part of the original trailer for Trials of the Nine. I don't know. But they released that and fooled like a ton of people. I think even who was it that not Professor Broman, Gathalion retweeted it and then
Oh,
took it
really?
down and yeah, and was like, "Oh man, I've been fooled," you know.
I
And
didn't
so
see that.
tons of people were just like totally thrown off by it. For some reason, it didn't. Gonna go ahead and answer a community question right now.
It's not community question time, Lego.
Well, okay, I'll
I'm
leave
just
it
kidding.
at
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so somebody said, who was it? I want to get the name straight. Somebody asked on Twitter, like, what did y'all think about this tweet? Were you fooled by it?
Was that Bagu?
Basically, yeah, it was Bagu. I think that's right.
This is why I'm the Twitter boss.
Yes, yes. I need you, Hove. I need you to tell me these things.
Do you hear that, everybody?
I do need you, Hove. So Bagu asks, I'm kind of bummed. Oh wait, no, it's not.
Oh, well,
it's not Bagu.
I was guessing.
It was KB Ninja. He's in chat right now. Said, were you fooled by the fake Trials announcement today? And for some reason I wasn't. Like I think because I had seen his @ sign before, and I just knew that they said Trials. I just knew that. I don't think if Trials returns, it's gonna return as Trials of the Nine. Like I think they'll name it something different. And if they do, I don't even know if they'll call it Trials. I think they might even just come out with something completely different, in my opinion. Because they're waiting this long. I don't know. It just seems they might call it Trials, but it'll be Trials of something else. It won't be because 9 has a bad reputation from its
we're also
past.
getting so much further into, like, the 9 doesn't have to test us anymore, like, story-wise.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of my point.
And I kind of agree. I don't even know if they'll go with Trials, just because, like,
yeah,
you've already done it twice. Like,
yeah.
everybody in the solar system doesn't go, we're going to have Trials. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I don't know. I could see them naming it Trials just because it's such a thing that even if they don't name it that, people are going to call it that if it is anything similar in play style to a tournament. You're like, "Oh, you playing Trials?"
Depends on the other name. Depends on what it's actually called.
Yeah, true. If it's catchy enough, I guess I could see that.
I wanted them to call it Trials of the Laysac. Lego Laysac.
I don't think they call it that.
Why can't they?
Well, were you fooled by it, Hove?
For like a second, because I think the way that I subconsciously go through Twitter, like I don't think this, but like as I'm scrolling, I think I get just used to, even if I'm not looking at the AVI of someone.
Yeah.
You get used to what it looks like in like your peripheral vision. So like I just saw the Bungie thing. It looked like a Bungie tweet. And I even said I was playing with Dewey, and I was like, oh no shit. And then like as soon as I saw 3v3 and blah blah blah, I looked up and it was like Bungie @ whatever his thing is, and I was like, oh yeah. Okay, never mind. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I didn't even get through the entire tweet. But at first I was like, for real? Yeah. Like this this happened? The first thing that made me look though is I think he tweeted it yesterday, right?
I think so.
I didn't see it till this afternoon, but I saw that it said 1 day ago. Because I was like, my first thought was, oh shit, the TWAB's out. And then I was like, a day ago, the TWAB isn't out. And I looked at the @ and I was like, oh.
Right. Yeah, it's like if he would have changed the time it was tweeted. Regardless, yeah, I don't know. I don't, as far as feelings about the tweet, which it wasn't in the question, but me and Hove, I think we were talking about it beforehand, but I feel like, well, okay, I'll just go ahead and say, because it's kind of funny what happened, like, because I don't really condone the tweet. Like, I feel like it's kind of messed up to get everyone's hopes up like that personally, but I'm not like super up in arms about it. But I just thought it was funny that right after he's put that, the next comment is him saying, with the Thanos meme that says Gamora, baby Gamora, and is like, but did you do it? And he's like, yes. What did it cost? And he said everything. And then it shows Bungie has blocked you, like right next to that. I just thought that was great, even though I don't know if it deserves a block. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought a block was a little. I get it. I get it from a company point of view, but it wasn't. It wasn't a like vicious like tweet. It didn't have. It wasn't a harmful tweet.
I don't know. I think it could be harmful, like getting people's expectations up. And here's the deal: like impersonating a company.
That's where I can see, but
that's messed up.
But again, on the flip side, it's not even like they didn't make their. I don't know. I get it. I just I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I feel like this is the answer to like a lot of my questions. Like, oh no, I get it, but like I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care either. I'm just saying I get why I blocked him. That's all. I don't really have anything else to say about that.
All right,
I do have something to say about.
That's all I have to say about that.
I put out something that was cool this week. I did a
new montage.
Yeah, new double special montage. That was pretty cool. And I just wanted to say thanks to I know some people are in chat that kind of like supported that and said some really kind words about it. Ninja was one of them, KB in there. So just want to say thanks for that. And anyone else who got out there and said anything about the montage, I really appreciate it.
Can I comment on your montage?
Sure, yeah.
You have to hear me out the whole way and not be mad at me.
I'm not going to be mad at you even if you say it's trash.
No, it's not. But you just have to hear the whole thing because it'll sound like I'm being a dick.
Okay.
But it's actually a pretty high compliment. Dewey and I were talking about it.
Okay.
So, because I think you would agree with me on this. I think I remember you saying something about this. So, you know, the last time when you made your Marvel one and you got a lot of that, oh, it's another Crucible montage.
Yeah.
It's just specials. It's not the editing's nothing special. It's just a montage, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And even though we got why we liked it, we understood. This one, after seeing a couple now, it really made me realize kind of your niche and what makes yours so good. And this is the part where, hear me out because it's not meant in a bad way. And I think
I think I know what you're going to say.
I think you'll agree with me.
I'm probably going to agree with you.
Your editing and the style of making them isn't anything extraordinary. And I don't mean that's a bad thing, but it's
I agree with you.
It's you know, you use a lot of the same things for effect because they work. But there's nothing editing wise that you would not see in another montage. But what people I really think miss the point of is yours aren't about even the gameplay to a point. Like, it's good plays because you're good at the game, but it's about like you have a concept for each one of your montages that I can't think of any, even some of the ones that I really, really like that have gotten a lot of views and are considered to be really good. It's all gameplay and really cool editing, but none of them have like a concept to it. Like you did your Liftoff one, you did your Marvel one, you did this one, your the Marvel Legend Become Legend one, and then this one, like even the fact that this one was a little bit more hidden, but the whole, you know, you start off with Josh Hamrick saying like people might even be able to do this, I don't know, running double specials, and you made the song Believer, and it's like I'll make you a believer, like,
exactly,
a believer that you can do this. And I don't know, like I said, I meant this as very high praise.
That is high praise. No, I appreciate it because that is exactly what I go for, is that theme. And I agree with you that I was even thinking about a lot of the things that you said when I was making this one, or when I was done and I was watching some other people, because I also wanted to give a shout out to Aura, Evil Aura, on Twitter. He's a part of the Planet Destiny crew, I think. And so he's like fusion rifle master. Like a lot of the like really long distance fusion rifle shots that you see out there, clips, could be potentially from him, because he hits some nasty ones and he has a really good rolled air intel. And so he's another air intel guy, and finally got his movie of the week this week. And so I wanted to give a shout out to him. Good, you know, just great montage. So, and I was glad he won too, because I hesitated even putting mine out this week. Not that I think that everything that I put out there is going to win, but because exactly what you said, Hove, a lot of them don't have like a theme. And so when I see somebody else that I want to win, I don't really want to like compete against them. But I also like, I like having fun and playing this game, and my main goal in any of these videos is just to encourage other people to have fun, which I did with, because I probably got the most feedback from Reddit, and a lot of comments on Reddit of people like, oh, I never thought of doing this before. I'm going to try this tonight. Kind of like with the Titan Bowl when we put that video out, and people were like, this looks like so much fun. I want to go try this.
And you always have like a silly moment in there. Like when you were like fusion rifle scavenger, sniper rifle scavenger. It said like just looks cool or whatever.
Okay, I gotta say something about that too, because it says just awesome. Okay. Like that's the only reason. And Dylan saw it on Reddit, and that's the only thing he commented was he just said just awesome, and that was it.
That's cool.
I thought that was.
But
awesome.
Yeah, like one of the things that really made me think about that was the one of the things that you use a lot, and again, I don't mean this in a bad way because it's effective and it's actually some of my favorite things. But you also put it with the music, the whole like slow motion going into just before the shot and then coming out of it quickly, because you always put it with like the believer part where it goes like, and then it like busts in, and you do it right with the music. So like, it doesn't matter that it isn't something revolutionary editing. Yeah. Like it works. And that's, I think people overlook that as like a whole, you know?
Yeah. So. Something else that I do that I think is, I'm not trying to hype my own stuff up. I'm just saying it in terms of, well, okay, well, thank you. But I'm just saying it in terms of like something that I like doing is not doing the over stylized editing. Because if you notice, a lot of other montages out there have like color put on them. Like they don't look like the game looks, you know, which is fine. Like some of them look amazing, you know, just me personally, I like just looking the game the way it is, because then when somebody else watches it, like the people on Reddit I've been talking to that want to try this, they see it and they're like, oh, this looks like my game. This looks like I could go and do that. And they can. And that's what I wanted to.
And one thing I want to, well, two things. One, if somebody can link that in chat, tell me before you're going to do it, and I'll permit you to post links, but I want you to put it in chat for Lego. But as a compare and contrast, and I want to use this one specifically because it's one of my absolute, it's probably my favorite Destiny montage of all time. So I'm saying nothing bad about it.
Is it Triple Rex?
The Reckoning.
Yeah, Reckoning. That's what I was thinking.
Amazing.
It's so good.
But it isn't a theme. It's just really great gameplay with cool music and great editing. And it looks amazing. And I love it. And I still watch it sometimes, even though it's 3 or 4 years old. But it is a stark contrast from what you do. And I don't think people see the benefit in one or the other. They only see the benefit in one or the other. So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
GG's Lego. I just want to say that I like your montage.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And also,
the next one should be Hove themed, though.
Well, since you said your favorite montage, I want to say mine too, because I think I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch to make sure that, because I also really like one that came out the exact same time I made a montage too. It wasn't really a montage; it's more like that Aliens trailer thing that was to the map on Titan, like where you go underneath the mission. I'm flipping the name of it right now, but you don't play in that area in anything else in the underwater Titan area. But it's such a cool environment, and somebody made a montage that's so cinematic of that area down there that just blew mine totally away. Like it was so well edited, so well done, and it won movie of the week. And I can't remember the name of the person, but there is lists of movie of the week winners out there, like playlists on YouTube, and the one for that mission it's incredible. Like that's one of my favorites. But also it's almost like a different field, you know, like you said, a theme. It's kind of that kind of thing, but it's Crucible Radio's Rap, the first one they did that had that ended with the last word on it on my hip. Like just that ending, it gets me every time listening to that. So I love that one. That one's deep in the favorites.
Deep where?
Yeah, I started saying deep, and I was like, I gotta clear this. I dug a hole and I gotta get out of it real quick.
That's fair. You're learning. I'll give you that.
Okay. Next, I want to.
Wait, are you gonna make a Hove theme montage? By the way,
I mean, we need to. I don't know, what would a Hove theme montage entail.
I don't know.
I feel like it would include. Okay, let's brainstorm for a second, because I think it would include sniping.
Oh, I don't mean my gameplay. I mean like Hove themed,
Oh no, I'm trying
like
to guess your gameplay for a second.
strippers and cheeseburgers,
And cheesesteaks,
cheesesteaks. No, I don't
um,
know.
eyebrows. Um,
No.
so I think for real, your gameplay would include sniping, maybe fusion rifling.
I fusion
Uh,
rifle way more than I snipe nowadays because
I
it's just
know,
better.
but in your heart, you know
I
you
want to
wish,
snipe.
yeah, sniping. And then the warlock. What's the beam that the warlock shoots out? The new
Chaos Reach.
subclass, Chaos Reach. It would include some of that. Which, by the way, did you see in the TWAB that there was an issue where Chaos Reach wasn't damaging enemies who were hit by Thorn or in a tether?
I thought, I thought I remembered seeing something about like multiple Chaos Reaches weren't doing. I don't. I knew there was something wrong with Chaos.
Yeah,
Reach,
it's some weird bug, but I was like, that would suck to go up against the enemy and you do nothing. You're like, what the heck?
Well, I actually, for the last few months, I've been playing mostly Hunter.
Oh yeah, I think you told me about that last time.
I've always gone back and forth. That's why I've never been able to really
know.
pick a main.
You just hate Titans. That's the
I don't
way it is.
hate them. I just, even that one time when I first started playing my Titan after the new changes, or the like third subclass tree. Remember I told you like I loved the whole death from above melee thing. Whatever it's called. Mr. Lego, what's it called?
The ballistic slam.
It was super fun, but for some reason, like when I didn't need to do something on my Titan, I just wasn't drawn back to it. When I was playing it, I was like, "This is great," but it never pulled me back. Like if I wasn't on that character already, it didn't make me want to play it.
You know, that's something else that's cool about this game versus that kind of additionally to what you were saying about Overwatch, how there's so many different characters. I feel like even though the basic the gunplay of Destiny is the same across all classes, but the feeling of every class is so distinct between the jumps, mainly Hunter jump, Warlock, and Titan. Like they all feel very different to me. And I just leveled up my Hunter the other day, and I finally started. My Warlock hasn't even started Forsaken yet, and so I was like, I need to just get it leveled up to where I can use guns on it, basically. You
just need to get it, girl.
Yeah, and so I started doing that the other day, and I just hate the Warlock jump so much, but I like other things about the class, and so I really want to, I don't know, get a feel for it. I saw what got me on it was Spiffy put in our Discord a link of people one-shotting people with Arbalest.
In whose Discord?
I said like the one we all go to. I didn't mean like I have ownership
Discord
of it.
Is it?
Your Discord.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Okay. So but yeah, the Warlock Empowering Rift can let Arbalest one shot, which is ridiculous. Maybe there was something else going on too that I wasn't aware of, but I'm pretty sure that's all you need because Arbalest hits hard. So I want to level it up just to try that out. But I'm not completely there yet.
I still think, even though I don't have a main, I still think if I absolutely had to only play one, I just really like the overall diverse game that Warlocks have. I think. It calls to me the most.
And that's the thing is I feel like there's so much to explore and I can't really say it about Warlock because there yet, but with Titan even just the different subclasses between the ballistic slam on one, the suppression nades make you play a whole nother way on Sentinel, and then hammers with like melting point is crazy too. And the new super with the big hammer, like that insta kills any other super in PvP. So there's just a lot of variety in the ways that you can play, even though gunplay kind of stays the same between them. There was something else that I wanted to bring up. The Forsaken, like replaying it for the first time in like forever. Just that first cutscene with Cade, like got me emotional. Like just playing the first mission again, which just goes to show. I know we haven't had a cutscene in a while that was, like got us in the feels in any sort of way, but having like watching Cade go again and like the way he goes and everything, it's just such a well done cutscene. Like I was just really impressed playing it again. Like I was like, man, I feel like I'm getting teared up right now watching this guy go. I had tears in my eyes, man.
I might have teared up last Friday.
Oh, I teared up last Friday, and then every day since, because every single day I'm listening to a podcast reviewing the movie, and I'm like, oh crap, that scene's so good. And yeah, so we'll talk about that later. uh, I'm not saying like good or bad. I'm just saying just the scenes are just amazing. So one other thing with the double special that I didn't bring up earlier, I started running arbalist and a shotgun or sniper and a shotgun, and that has been really fun with the right scavenger perks too. I know that montage only showed like fusion rifle plays, but sniper shotgun, I'm so bad with shotguns still. But the few plays that I did have that were good were like they felt really good. Like they felt really fun. So I'm excited to try that a little bit more.
Excited to try you a little bit more.
I'm excited for you to get some scavenger perks, Hove, so that you can have fun too. Because I'm telling you, man, it's really fun playing that way.
Like, you should come out with me. We'll have fun.
I would if I lived in the same town.
I don't think you would.
I would. I would just like have some control over like what going out meant. One other thing that happened this week before, because I really want to talk about Avengers right now, but I'm holding off just a little bit longer. There was that ride along for the Shattered Throne this week, and I haven't got to watch the full thing yet, but I was just watching a little bit of it, and it's just so cool the amount of thought they put into everything. And it was also cool to see in the Twitch stream they had the people, they had like a team of people answering questions about the Shattered Throne, and then they had a team of people like playing the game. And one of the main guy whose screen they were following was Nigel, who is like the Bungie cameraman for all of their trailers and stuff. So when you're watching it, he's very cinematic with the way he's like walking around, and Deej kind of calls him out, so like puts the pressure on him. But it was, you could tell that he had that mindset, because I had just filmed some cinematic parts of this montage, and so I had that on my mind, and I was watching the ride along, and he was kind of just panning, you know, these smooth shots as everybody's watching. And I don't know, I just thought it was cool, and I'm excited to watch the whole thing, because just them talking about the entrance and the not necessarily even lore, but like their goals behind, like one of the design guys was, whenever they first got the go ahead, like, hey, we want you to make an in-game PvE thing that's just like 3 people, like, go, like, and just kind of let them brainstorm and come up with ideas on their own. It wasn't like people were specifically telling, like, basically what I got out of it was that Bungie allows their designers to have that creative freedom to like come up with the coolest thing they can think of. And I just thought that was really cool. Just hearing them describe their process for creating the Shattered Throne was really cool.
For sure.
That's all I got about that, though.
I didn't actually get to watch it. I never get to watch that stuff because it's in the middle of the afternoon for me.
I know.
And I get it. I'm not complaining. I get that's when they're working, too. But it's always when I'm working. And then by the time I get home, like, I want to get into some games or
yeah. Which is why I was saying that I watched it afterwards, and I didn't even get to watch the full thing yet. Like, I would just my spare time, basically, because it is one of, having just played through it and soloing it for the first time, I was really into, like, wanting to know the different parts about it. So that's kind of it this week for me as far as like Destiny stuff going on. I figured we just hit the TWAB real quick. There's not really much news. I just wanted to hit up what Hove said earlier about Arbalist, I guess, going into the loophole.
Let me double check them. I thought that's what it said.
Yeah, because I was a little confused on that. But the other thing is we can't do the bounty from Xur right now. Invitations of the Nine is like bugged, and they said that's getting fixed this next week. I don't think that means we get 2 bounties. I think that just means we have to wait for the story to finish. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is it. Sorry, I'm laughing because KB Ninja's talking about the part of the first mission of Forsaken where Cade yeehaws past Petra, and it is such a great scene. I laughed out loud while I was playing that part.
Real quick, additionally, Arbalist will no longer be available for purchase from Eva Levante and will be available only as a reward drop from loot sources.
Okay, so we don't know what loot sources or all loot sources, maybe.
Is it exotic?
Yeah.
whatever you can get an exotic from.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, if you want an easy way to get it, Hove, got to jump in there this week, man.
Seems like a lot of work.
It's not that much work. Uh, that's it for the TWAB. There's nothing else. And in that case, are you ready? Well, wait. There is one more thing. Movie of the week stuff. I already called out our friend Aura, who got his fusion rifle, Voopin' Boopin'. I think that's what it was called.
Oh, okay. I was like, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not. That actually called it. And then also wanted to bring up the actual movie of the week because he got like runner up, and the movie of the week was to a drummer who redid Riven's theme song, but with like heavy metal like drums in there, and it was pretty cool. It was awesome to watch. And yeah, I felt like he could have been in Harvey Danger's band. He was so good. So
Lego, you don't have to use your words because you didn't send me any, so you're the only one playing this week.
Oh, I didn't send you any. No, I forgot.
Also, Harvey Danger's not the singer. That is the band.
Oh, it is? Well, Harvey... Yeah, okay. I almost nailed it. I got close.
I'm also very disappointed that you don't know that song.
I didn't know, like, anything you sent me this week. So, I don't like pastries. I don't like apple streusel. Sorry.
You don't?
No, nothing that is, like, a pastry dessert thing.
You don't like apple pie?
For. No. I'm just not a fan of, like, hot, warm, like...
You don't have to eat it warm. I eat it out of the refrigerator.
That sounds better, honestly.
I think I like... Because then I don't know. You're not American.
I know.
You're a communist.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I like, like croissants and stuff.
That's not even... That's like saying...
It's like a pastry.
That's more like bread.
I like bread.
Yeah, I mean... I had this really good, like, Asiago bread last night. It was delicious.
Okay. Everybody's starting to talk about Avengers in the chat, so
yeah,
I'm just gonna go ahead
Matt
and
Grundy's
move it
right.
over.
You're part of Hydra.
I mean...
Well, do you want to do Twitter questions since they are Destiny themed?
Yeah, let's do Twitter questions, because I'm so close to ruining Endgame. I don't want to get there till I say I'm there, so...
All right. So... We already talked about if we were fooled by the announcement of fake trials. Darth Loki, next major content drop should be early September. Borderlands 3 drops September 13th. Thoughts on these two looter shooters splitting the player base? It's funny he asked this because within an hour prior to that, I read an article that was about Destiny needs to avoid that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Because I know we talk about it a lot, and it has been getting deeper and deeper, like the number of games that are out that compete directly with Destiny.
Uh-huh.
But man, it's a game that the last one was a huge hit. It's been super anticipated for a long time. Borderlands 3, I mean. A lot of the Borderlands, or the Destiny community, started in Borderlands, or came from Borderlands, including some big streamers. It's going to be tough for them. I'm not saying, you can't just not come out with anything, but Borderlands 3 is going to hurt any release they have then, I think. I think it'll beat whatever Destiny puts out, just by nature.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. As someone coming from, like, I have no Borderlands experience, I think there's a lot of players who might be trying Borderlands for the first time because of their remaster that just came out. And because Destiny brought them into this genre, like there's so many people who came from just the shooter genre and Destiny pulled them in rather than, and I know there's a lot of people that came from Borderlands to Destiny too, don't get me wrong. But I just think I think it's going to be a problem for Bungie, but I don't know how big of I don't know if big enough that they're going to like change a release date or something like that. I think they'll still have a general like release time close to their normal time. Will it draw people away? Sure. How many or for how long? Here's my guess is that no matter what happens, if Bungie comes out with something new, cool, and awesome, and they really have been working on something while we've just had this drip fed content of annual pass stuff, and they're coming out with something really big for September, then people are going to split their time between these things. They're not going to play, like, maybe a streamer will play Borderlands exclusively for a period of time, but if they're a Destiny player, they're going to either split their time between the two or play one and then the other. You know, I can't see them just avoiding Destiny completely. I can see normal gamers that are like hardcore Borderlands fans doing that. But that's not the area that I come from, so it's hard for me to speak to that.
I mean, I've never played Borderlands, but even some of these other games that were supposed to compete with it weren't known quantities. They were hype. You know, Anthem, Division. But this is a game that, like, to a point, it has a base. Yeah. It's a known quantity. Yeah. It is similar in a way, the whole looter thing.
Yeah.
It's tough competition. I mean, you can't not come out with something, but yeah, it's gonna pull people away. It's just the nature of gaming. It's the nature of entertainment, period.
Yeah, and I had somebody DM me actually a question about it. They were like, "Hey, do you know anything about Borderlands? Like, does it have PvP in it too, or is it just PvE?" And I was like, I actually don't even know. Like, I've never played a Borderlands game. Does it have PvP? I didn't think that it did.
I don't know. I never played Borderlands.
Neither of us even know. I don't think that it, or at least not in the capacity that is similar to Destiny. So in that sense, it's not going to. You can duel friends. Ninja says in chat. So I guess it has some form of it, but it's probably not the same sense that we have coming from the shooters that we know. Yeah, it's nothing the same. So yeah, that answers that question, I think. Best we can anyway.
Next question is from Sam. She says, "Where's Mindy?"
Hey, Sam, I've been wondering the same thing. I don't know what happened. I feel like I've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, fooled again.
It is funny who I told you texted me today, though.
That is kind of
not
funny.
Mindy, because Mindy's fake.
It was totally Mindy.
Bagu asks, "I'm kind of bummed that we don't have ornament chases for armor like we did in year 1 of D2, like the Crucible armor set. Would you guys like to see those back?" I don't know why they went away with them. I thought that was...
I do.
Why?
Because they changed the armor system completely. I don't know why they kept not using them, but I know why they originally stopped using them when Forsaken came out, because armor completely changed, like the way the perks work, everything. And they decided to they couldn't use the old ornaments for the new armor because it had a new perk system. Right. Why they didn't add on to that and keep adding ornaments, I don't know.
Yeah, like you could even make them almost like shaders. It would be kind of like a transmog system. Like,
I would love that. I honestly thought the ornament system was awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm bummed too.
It solved to a point the vault space issue we had back then too. So I don't know. I think they should go back to it, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I think for sure. Maybe, okay, I have one reason why they might have changed it, because it lowered the number of armor that they had and made people feel like there was less in the game. Potentially, I'm just throwing an idea out there. Like, maybe it just wasn't received well. Like, new ornaments came out for Iron Banner, and people in their minds maybe were kind of like, what? We still have the same armor? I don't get new armor, when really there's like 3 sets of armor in one. I think to the general eye, maybe it didn't seem like there was that much. That really is the only thing I can think of, because otherwise, like, ornaments were great. It was so good for your vault space. It was so nice if you got a good set rolled armor that you liked, you could keep that roll and put whatever look you wanted to it, which is, not quite transmog, but a version. Ish, yeah.
Anon. I don't even know why I asked these questions. You're lucky I like you guys. Since Hove missed 2 weeks in a row of the invitations, causing him to also miss the catch-up week.
I love this question.
Why is he kissing his relatives? What? Why? Why did this, what?
It's Anon spoke it, so it must be a part of the lore.
Where did this come from?
I don't know. It's awesome.
Like there is even like at least I know Mindy like Triton made up this joke. It stuck around, but I don't know where this even was there. I don't understand.
Maybe it was like a past question and then somebody believed it, kind of like the way Triton threw out there something and I just gullibly believed it.
I blame Matt Grundy.
He said in chat at that moment, excellent question.
I know. Matt Grundy asks, who is each host's favorite Disney princess and why?
I didn't think about this one before.
Neither did I.
But I'll have an answer for you, Hove, though, already. I think I already...
Okay.
It's Jasmine, right? Like, it's got to be for you.
Yeah.
I knew it.
It's got to be.
I know Hove's
also
taste
the girl
in Disney princesses.
No.
So, I don't know.
I'm going more by the girl who's playing her in the movie coming up.
Okay.
The Power Ranger girl.
I don't even know who all the Disney princesses... I feel like they've added so many more since
but I mean,
the classics.
you still got your basics. Snow White,
Yeah,
Cinderella, Belle.
Not
Little
Cinderella. Probably Ariel. Yeah.
You would pick the non-human one.
Yeah. Of course.
Sounds more like a Mana answer, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if Mana were here, I would obviously let him have that choice, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't have an answer, but you definitely picked the right one for me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was thinking of you.
I was just say, wait, whoa. First of all, Swords in chat just told me you backed the fuck up off of Ariel Hove. That's not me. That's Lego.
No, he's saying, like, get off my case about her. That's what he's saying.
I'm just saying she's not human. That's a fact.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, there is kind of something wrong with that.
I think it's illegal. It's like bestiality or something, right?
She becomes a human.
I mean, she grows legs.
Yeah.
She's still a mermaid.
I mean, they just said what was my favorite. It didn't say I had to, like, marry her, you know?
All right. I don't really know what to say.
You could just read the next question.
That was the last question. That was good. I'm very proud of you, Lego. You're right. And I've explained to you, like, I know why you came to that conclusion. You pay attention.
I'm glad.
To me. You're a good friend.
Cracky in chat. Wow, it's 2019. Hove out here fish shaming.
I'm just saying it's not illegal. It's not legal.
I
feel like if you got caught having sex with a fish, you would go...
Who said anything about that?
I don't know, Lego.
It's just, who's your favorite Disney princess?
KB Ninja said in chat, did you see that they're changing Sonic in the Sonic movie? Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Literally right before we got on air, yeah.
I'm surprised. I mean, you don't see that happen very often, especially after a trailer's out, which means, there's a lot done. So, that's cool.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
I'll still probably see it at some point, but it seemed like there's like no, like, the plot just seems really dumb. Like, oh, these people show, like, so this hedgehog's here to save us. Like, from what? Oh, there's this guy. Like,
I think it's like they're all aliens. Like, Sonic's an alien. And...
But you don't know. Like, they're so vague. It's so weird.
It is vague, yeah. Winnie. Okay,
wow,
so...
Wendler, banned.
Immediately? What? Okay. Are we going to do this? Are we going to get all spoilery?
You're not going to tell us about your Ariel fantasies, are you?
Do we need, like, an alert on the screen or something? Like, if people come in, we're gonna do in-game spoiler stuff here, so if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to just
I haven't seen it yet.
You've seen it at least once. I was gonna say twice, but I'm not sure actually.
Just once.
Okay. Because we gotta start talking about some... okay, spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, get out of here.
Spoilers assemble, says Matt Grimes.
You gotta go see it. Like,
we're in the end game now.
Yeah, we're in the end game, and you don't want to get it spoiled. It's so good. Real quick, this is like a review, Hove and Lego review. Quick non-spoiler review. Do you recommend this movie, Hove? Like, what did you think? Would you?
Yeah.
Is it?
100%. It's amazing.
I'm gonna do something really difficult here, but like, where do you rate it?
I don't know yet.
I know
Right now
it's
it's number
impossible.
one because it was so epic and
Okay.
crazy. But like, give me some time.
Well, that's kind of my. I was wondering what your initial like lineup would be because I know it'll change over time, but like initially, like did it hit the top area for you?
Oh
Because for
yeah.
me, my first like immediate reaction when I came out, I had that initial like, wait, but it didn't have like I felt like there were like one-on-one kind of moments missing that Infinity War had because it was such a smaller scale thing. And then but after like sitting with it for even like an hour, I was like, this movie's awesome. And then I thought about another scene and I was like, this movie's incredible. And then like a day later, I like heard the soundtrack from it and I was like,
I mean,
this movie's
it's
so
very much
freaking
fan
good.
service.
Yeah,
To be fair,
fan
because if
service.
even though you could go into it and for the most part figure out what's going on as a non-fan, it doesn't
Hmm.
work as well as its own thing as Infinity War did.
Yeah.
But to people
No,
that
you
know,
can't. It's impossible because it's the culmination of 20 other
right?
movies.
But I mean, you could still get the idea. Like you're not gonna appreciate it, but you could watch
Yeah.
that and figure it out.
You could figure it out, but it would be hard to it would be hard to figure out what happening if you just watch anything else, and you wouldn't appreciate it like at all, like comparatively.
Right, you would get the basic plot,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't get any of the stuff that like went on,
Hmm.
behind the scenes. I think Infinity War works better as its own movie,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Endgame just had so many cool moments, and I did like the fact, we knew it was going to focus on the original 6 Avengers, but like outside of the people who were alive at the beginning, which was the original
Hmm.
6 and like a couple other people, everyone from Infinity War was like barely in it. Like
Yeah.
they showed up
I
for the
love
last
that.
10 minutes and that was like it.
And I thought that was totally fine and totally like what this needed. Okay, so full on spoilers. We're here. Like I love there's so many things that I didn't even pick up on. But one that this movie had some of the coolest scenes. Like there's images stuck in my head right now that are just like kind of like it reminds me of when I saw
Boobs for the first time.
Ragnarok.
Oh.
No, Ragnarok. How they had those like when it showed the flashbacks of like Valkyrie going to fight Hela, and it was almost like a painting, like a mural.
Oh,
There's
that scene was super awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So the scene in this movie, like with Cap against Thanos, where he runs up and uppercuts him. Oh, that is like picture perfect. Like,
Can I tell
oh
you a
my
big pet
god.
peeve of mine though that you made me think of?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
It bothers me, and I can't believe I've never heard this, and I've thought about it before, but it really bothers me that her name is Valkyrie
Mm-hmm.
because they never talk about the fact that like, oh, you're one of the Valkyries.
No, they do.
But right, but and then your name is are they all
Is
named
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie? Because she wasn't like the leader. They weren't named after her. They weren't all named Valkyrie. Why is her name Valkyrie if she was part
I
of the
see what
Valkyries?
Maybe she has another name and they just call her Valkyrie because she's the last one. I don't know. I'm not a comic book. Okay, that's another thing I gotta preface this conversation with. We don't have Marcus here, and I am not a like super hardcore comic book fan. Like I didn't grow up on the comics. I know enough. Like I watch enough YouTube videos and stuff to be able to reference things from the comics, but I'm more of like an MCU fan, like the movies.
Filthy
So I'm not
casual.
going to be able to. I'm a casual. I'm not going to be able to completely nerd out. So I don't know all the
Even if it's
information.
from the comics, like KB Ninja said, the character in the comic is named Valkyrie. That's fine. Like I get that they didn't just make her up, but why is Valkyrie one of the Valkyries? Like it just seems
I
it's
don't
just
know.
odd. It's awkward.
Yeah, yeah. So
That would be like calling the Avengers the captains,
yeah,
and then you have
yeah.
Captain America. It's dumb.
Man, there's so much from this movie that I want to call out right now. I don't even. Tough because, like you said at the beginning, of me and you already had like an hour and a half long
I could
conversation
still go on and on. I don't care.
about this. Yeah, same. So there's a few things that I picked up on or that I heard that I watched for the second time that I didn't. One of the main things that stuck out to me watching it a second time was when Pepper Potts is talking to Iron Man right after he figures out the time travel stuff, and she said he's like, I could put a pin in it right now. I don't have to do this. and Potts specifically says the line of, if you don't do this, you won't be able to rest. Like, she says you won't be able to rest. And I was like, how did I not catch that, the first time? Or I hadn't really heard somebody talk about it either, that she says that exact word that she says at the end of the movie when he's sitting there and she's like, now you can rest, like you have done it. And I thought that was so cool. That was just one of the things on a second viewing that I caught. And then the other thing was the intro that shows like the logo come up and all the,
The Marvel
normal characters. Yeah, the Marvel logo. It is missing the characters that got snapped. Like Doctor Strange isn't there. Like, his scene is there, but he's missing from it. And then Gamora is normally in the left, and I guess she's not there either. She didn't get snapped, but still,
she was
like,
gone.
She's gone. And so it didn't have those people in the logo. And I thought that was really cool to have the same scenes, but those people missing.
It was kind of like when they did that panel and they had like 40 seats, but only like 7 of them were filled. And they said, this is where all the other Avengers were going to sit.
Gosh, that's brutal. Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, also one of the things that I want to point out that I noticed, since we always talk on the podcast lately about my nonsense movie and actor stuff, that I was the one who noticed the kid from Iron Man 3.
At the funeral.
In like the first viewing, I was like, who's that kid?
Who is that
familiar.
kid? And I had to, like, you were driving, and so I IMDb'd it, and I was like, it's the kid from Iron Man 3. Like, why did I?
As soon as you said Ty Simpkins,
you called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good.
I read an article that I don't know that they're gonna go that way, but they were saying, like, because you remember he was super smart, and he helped Tony get his suit ready. But they were saying, oh, is this gonna be important down the road? Is he gonna play a part later? I don't think so. I think it was more just a callback because they were close, but they could.
They did set up big time though, like I forgot what they call it. Young Avengers, yeah. Because there's so many characters between Ant-Man and Cassie Lang, Hawkeye's daughter, yeah, who he calls Hawkeye in the movie.
Ant-Man's daughter, or not Ant-Man's daughter, Iron Man's daughter.
Morgan Stark, yeah. And then also we know from Captain Marvel movie that they didn't show this one, but her friend's kid in that, but she, like, colors the suit at one point, and she just is very interested in Captain Marvel stuff. And it was kind of like, could that be a thing later on? Maybe. I feel like there's more that I'm not thinking of, but there were a lot of, like, kids who could grow up.
They've also said, I don't think they have plans for it yet, but I want to say they've also commented that they do plan on doing a Miss Marvel at some time. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, who's like she gets her name because she's a big fan of Captain Marvel, but she's a much lower level hero. Like, she's not as powerful as any of the Avengers.
Yeah.
But one thing, going back real quick to Harley Keener, the kid from Iron Man 3, I saw something that was really sad. There's a point in Iron Man 3 where he says something about, my mom already left for the diner. My dad went to the store to buy lottery tickets. That was 6 years ago. I guess he's not coming back. Is it going to be 6 Is it going to be 6 years before I see you again?
Shut up.
Guess how long ago Iron Man 3 came out?
6 years. Oh my.
So it was 6 years, and he saw him at his funeral. Like, that's sad.
That's brutal. What if he grows up to be a villain and not a hero?
Jeez.
That would be awesome. But that would be such a good setup.
That would be no, because I wouldn't buy any of that. Like, oh, this guy didn't come see you because he was busy sacrificing himself to save the world, so you're a villain now? No, I wouldn't buy that.
He doesn't have a father figure. Anything could happen. Okay, so I wanted to touch real quick on with the super spoilery stuff of, because I talked about Ant-Man and Cassie. I feel like that was the first gut punch for me. Like, yeah, Hawkeye's scene I thought was beautifully well done with his family going.
He did a really good job of, like, because it took place in a field.
Yeah.
He wasn't, like, looking in rooms. He had this very distraught, like, he would take, like, 3 steps one way and then, like, turn and look the other way. Like, he could have just stood and turned in a circle and done the same thing because it was a field, but he had this very, like, I don't know what I'm doing, what's happening. Like,
yeah, he was just so lost, because normally he sees everything. In the Avengers, Like he's up in the nest, always watching, like he's the guy who doesn't miss anything. And everyone disappears right in front of him.
Which is
So I
probably
thought
part of
that
the thing that like set his like guilt and pissed him off, because even though he had
yeah.
nothing to do with it, like I missed it, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely. Yeah, gosh, man. So that was really good, but it didn't emotionally, like I was like heavy but not punched in the gut yet. But when Ant-Man sees Cassie, and like just that anything with time gaps, like another one is in Interstellar. There's a scene where that happens
scene's yeah.
Oh, it's so good where they see him for the first time after like what had it been like 10 years in that movie, or even maybe even longer.
Are you talking about when he's watching her video and he's crying?
No,
that one?
That's good. No, I'm talking about.
I thought that was the biggest one.
That is the best, but also on top of that, the scene where they go down to the planet for just like an hour or two for them, and they get back up, and it's been like he's 10 years.
You've been gone for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, and he's been 10 years alone by himself, and it's just like it's not. There's no emotional crying or anything. It's just that punch to the gut of like, oh my gosh, 10 years, and to see like him see Cassie, and it's been 5 years, and he doesn't even recognize her at first. And he does after a moment, but just that like initial like, wait, is it going to be the mom? And it's the daughter, and it's just so good. So that was the first time, but I felt like there were a couple of moments I got really emotional. There was that one, and then surprisingly, Hawkeye and Black Widow's moment there, because
they had some good scenes.
Dude, I did not see it coming, and they built up. I did once we knew they were going to the planet. You knew someone was going to go. But having that build up from so many episodes, man, we're talking about Endgame.
Oh snap! Hi.
Are you recording?
Hey, oh snap!
Yeah,
that was the perfect thing to say.
Oh snap! Get it? Ha ha ha! Wait, man, we have an important question first.
Oh.
Who's your favorite Disney princess?
Come back to me. Let me think about this for a little bit. All right.
Is it Ariel?
No.
Okay.
Is there a reason?
Well, you don't want to know.
I took Ariel.
Lego's into bestiality.
Hove said I'm not allowed because that's more your department for some reason.
I don't think that's how I don't think that's how that was said.
The Little Mermaid?
That's what you implied.
Did I?
More down my lane?
I don't think I said that, Nana.
Because underwater manigator?
I think that's what he was going for. Scales.
No, I haven't
such,
thought
but...
that at all once. I think like
really?
No.
What were you thinking then?
I don't think I said that.
Redheads? I mean,
do you like redheads?
I don't know. I mean, sure. I don't know. I never dated one or anything, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm into redheads.
They're into you with that beater on, showing your guns.
Hey man, it was toasty today. All right,
I believe it.
I literally came from like outside just to hear.
He probably smells like fire right now. Actually, like that smoky smell.
Like smoke, you mean?
Like smoke.
I don't smell fresh, so.
Okay, I'm gonna get back to what I was talking about for a second.
Sorry.
No.
Mr. Tumnus showed up.
So we're in the middle of spoilers right now, man. You've seen it,
right.
So we're good.
Yeah.
But I was talking about emotional stuff that really got me in the movie. It was Ant-Man and his daughter, and then Black Widow and Hawkeye. Because in Infinity War, when they sacrifice Gamora, that like it gets me now watching it, because I feel like I connect more with Thanos and his character, and I think his development's interesting. But I feel like I didn't want Black Widow to go yet. Like I feel like Hawkeye, his story was done, and I felt like there was a Black Widow. There was rumors of a movie coming.
There is a movie coming.
There
is,
even
announced. Yeah. And so I was like, they can't kill her. And I love Winter Soldier and Civil War and all the scenes with her in those. And so when she goes, I'm like, wait, what? No. And just the relationship of them through all the movies where like he saved her first, and then she saves him in the original Avengers with Loki.
We got that mysterious Budapest. Was it Budapest?
Yeah,
like
Budapest,
mission they keep on referencing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to be in that. Maybe it's a prequel movie. I'm guessing it has to be.
Yeah, I did see some. For anyone who doesn't know this, Lego and I already talked about it. There's a really good channel on YouTube. It's Emergency Awesome. A guy named Charlie, and he does all Marvel, DC, pretty much anything comic movie, Game of Thrones, that kind of like nerdy genre. And he's he doesn't give spoilers unless he like tells you this is a spoiler video,
Yeah.
but he's very kind of connected to what's going on and has a lot of really good theories and covers pretty much everything that like we're into. So if you ever get a chance, check that out. But he was saying that they've mentioned Budapest so many times that it's only natural that they do that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that scene really got me. And then also, of course, Tony and Cap scene, both of them, like just every time that I think about it now too, even when I think about the scenes that get me hyped, they kind of get me sad at the same time now, but in like a good way. Like I'm not bummed that it happened. I'm so glad that they took the direction they did for both, but just the way that, and Cap scene almost gets me more, I think, because I'm more of a Cap fan than like I love Iron Man, but just having him go, even though it was such a good way, like it still gets me sad.
I called it.
Like,
I called it when he was going back in the time machine. I was like, he's going to do something. He's going to stay there, and then he never returns. I'm like,
well, I want to point out something cool, but we just got another question in chat I want to throw out real quick. Dewey McDewerson subscribed for 6 months. So first of all, thank you. And he said, why do they call it taking a dump? Shouldn't it be called leaving a dump? But speaking of dumps, have you all seen that double special Crucible montage called Belieber or something?
Oh man, that's good, Dewey. Thank you for that.
But he's asking the real questions, though.
He is. Yeah.
It's just like, why do you drive on a parkway and park on a driveway? You know, it's dumb.
Or why, if you watch the what is it, Seinfeld? Jerry Seinfeld has a Netflix special, and one of the things he talks about is like the different ways you say like, I'm going to like take a cab or ride the train, but you don't take a train and you don't ride a cab, or you call an Uber but you don't ride an Uber. You know, like all the different phrases that we have for saying.
You guys are blowing my mind. I can't think of a good one to join in, so I'm just going to say you're blowing my mind.
Done.
So.
But getting back real quick, since you brought up Cap and Tony, I read something that was really cool, and it was pretty much. And I guess I never noticed this. It seems blatantly obvious, and you might go, oh, yeah, you're an idiot. But from the get-go, Cap and Tony have had opposite storylines. Like, they've gone in totally opposite directions. You had Tony, who was this super selfish, all about me, and they've called that out so many times, and he ends up going out with literally the most selfless act you can have, giving your life to save everyone. Whereas Cap went from this like
jump on the grenade,
perfect jump on the grenade, selfless, will do anything to help people, and not in a bad way, but his final act was him finally taking a page from Tony and doing something for him. I don't want to use the word selfish, because even though it is, that has a negative connotation, but his final act was one of selfishness and doing something for himself, and Tony's was the opposite, and they just kind of went from opposite ends of the spectrum. And you know, those two, the more you look back, it's so cool how intertwined the two of them are, from being total opposites to kind of co-leaders of the Avengers, to being the main clash of Civil War, to being, you know, it's just really, really well done, honestly.
Yeah.
And especially, real quick, just the fact that like through all these movies, it's not like all 22 movies were done by the same directors.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job. Marvel and Kevin Feige and everyone. It's really cool.
Oh,
it's
incredible.
Really, yeah.
Dude, even how they started this movie, though, you know how like every movie before this starts off with the Marvel insignia and all the movies flashing through.
That's what Lego was saying.
They started off with a really sad, like just like freaking Hawkeye and his family, all lovey-dovey, and then they disappear, and you see, you know what's happening. You're like, oh god, really? They're showing this. And then, like, he starts freaking out, panicking, then boom, the Marvel. And you're like, oh my god. Immediately, it's, like, sad for him.
Oh, man, it's so good. And also with the Cap and Iron Man stuff, like you were saying, Hope, with just their opposing storylines, also while they go through the opposite journey, and then they both have the same ending, though, of rest, it just looks the opposite for both of them. For Cap, it was finally taking a page from Tony's book and going and having a life, and that was his rest. And me and you talked about this, Hove. That was the only way that either of them could have rested. Like, Tony had to go out because he had his family and so he would always been trying to protect in some way. And then Cap, the only way he could rest was to go back into a time where he knew nothing was going to happen. Like he didn't. I know I've heard some other theories about like I'm sure Cap did stuff in that timeline that he went back to, but in my mind, I think that that's the perfect way for him to rest because there's another Cap in whatever reality he went
doing
to
all the things that he already did.
That's doing all the things and taking care of all the things, and he doesn't have to. He can have a family and have a life, and that's the only way he could have rested. And so I really like, now that I've thought about it that way, I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Well,
and then he like comes back to our reality.
One of the things I kind of saw it as two different possibilities, but it kind of goes into one. Apparently, and I don't remember this, but in one of his movies, I don't remember which Captain America movie it was, but they mentioned that Peggy got married.
Yeah.
But they never say to who. She just got married.
I was listening to that too, but it can't be Cap.
Why?
Because that's a different
here's the thing.
He went back to a different timeline.
Who's to say, like, now that all these other timelines are possible, who's to say that we weren't always in one of those timelines?
Oh, wait. So who was that one chick that he kissed in was it
Sharon Carter?
Civil War?
Civil War, Sharon Carter,
who
yeah.
was she to Peggy?
Her niece.
Was that her? Oh, that was her niece, not her. Okay.
I know where you're going with that.
I'm like, wait, but if she and then him and her and Cap, that's kind of weird.
Just like Hove.
And also another way, and this is what I've seen. Probably, I'm done listening to you. So when he did go back and created, if you're gonna say when he went back, he created a different timeline than ours, right?
Yeah.
Peggy died during which movie?
I don't remember. Oh, Civil War.
So how many years ago was that? Multiple, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
So if he went back, he only went back to be with Peggy. So once Peggy died, then he was like, well, I'm going to now go back to the timeline to tell them what I did.
The main timeline, yeah.
So there's multiple ways that, at first glance,
also,
it seems like a plot hole, but there's a lot of ways.
I see your point, though, Hove, that it could have been our timeline all along. That's a possibility. Yes.
Also, talking about timelines and what they're doing. So they entrusted Cap to go back and replace every single Infinity Stone, correct? So that means he had to go back to, what was the planet, Vormir or whatever, for the
I was thinking
stone?
about this.
Yeah.
And guess who's like the keeper of the place?
Yep.
You think that might have been like an awkward situation? Yep. Like, first of all, Cap appears. He's like, hey, I have this. And then, what's it, Red Skull? Was that his name?
Red Skull, yeah.
He turns around, he's like, the fuck? like the first is like, and then they both just kind of stare at each other like, what? And then he's like, why do you have that stone? Type deal.
But
like,
I wonder
I
if
can see that being a
know.
Saturday Night Live sketch.
Because he was supposed to be like, he knew what was coming. He knew who was there. He knew they were going to be coming.
Oh yeah, he is kind of all knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is because Red Skull, the Russos came out and said that he's a different. It's almost like a different entity or being now. Like you can't really think of him.
He was kind of like reborn.
Yeah, reborn.
In a way, yeah.
He's kind of like Bran Stark.
Because
seriously, he has his memories. He looks like him, but he has all this knowledge and isn't really him. It's just like Bran Stark.
He's like the no-nose Raven. Yeah. Also, the multiple splits, like the timelines and like a whole bunch of crap and all that. What they could have done for Phase 4 in the future, Secret Wars. I don't know if you guys know what Secret Wars and all that is.
I don't know enough about it,
like,
but
I know a little bit. Like they could have done all these different splits to create all these different universes and add. Since we got Fox now, we got the mutants they can potentially bring in and all that.
There's millions of possibilities, but you're not going to see another. I don't think, if they even continue to do.
Are they going on a hiatus after
Avengers
like the next couple big ones?
I don't think so.
No, I mean they're still doing like 2 to 3 a year, but I don't think you're going to see a quote Avengers movie for at least 4 years, at least.
Yeah, probably.
I think they're going to kind of build up a new like MCU,
a new roster. Yeah.
I think so too. with the timelines though, there's one more timeline thing because Loki disappears with the
Tesseract.
the space stone, I think, right?
Well,
and
Tesseract, yeah. At that point.
Tesseract, yeah. I mean, but that's in an alternate timeline, so it's not the main timeline he's alive in. In an alternate timeline, he's out there somewhere, and that poses another question: Are there infinite realities already out there, or is it only the ones they go back and change that create these branches? Those are
I think in Doctor Who, the whatchamacallit kind of described
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, let's go with that. Doctor Strange, what Supreme? What is the
Sorcerer Supreme?
Sorcerer Supreme kind of explained how many different realities and all, and like she's the master of like
all
their
of them.
reality. But it's just like no,
Or
like
she knows.
she can go in between and understand all those realities, but her
Right.
specific one is that one, and she's the master to like kind of protect that reality.
Yeah, the ancient one. Yeah.
And then again in Endgame, she kind of went through that. It's like, this is our reality. These are the time stones of our reality. You kind of break them apart, and just shit gets cray cray.
Yeah.
And
One of the things that Lego and I talked about when we first had our reactions to this, there were a lot of really cool small lines.
Oh, so many
that like really had bigger not impacts but bigger meanings. For instance, like I thought it was really cool when she would refuse to give the Hulk the time stone until he told her that Doctor Strange gave it up. And I thought it was so cool that even though we know he is now the Sorcerer Supreme, he's taken over, blah blah blah, her saying even back then he's the best of us, like if he,
like she knew.
She's so adamant that she was right, but as soon as she found out that he didn't do that, she was like, "Oh well, I have to do like he's the best one ever." So it's really cool that she's saying right there like how powerful he is.
She already knew, and like as was it Dr. Hulk or whatever he is now,
Professor
Hulk,
Professor Hulk, yeah. He asked where he was, and she's like, "Oh, you're a couple years too early or something like that." Did she say? Like, she already knew. Like, she already had it planned out.
Which was also really cool. Did you notice the before I get to the other line that I was thinking of, the sorcerers battling the Chitauri during the original Avengers movie from the roof?
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was really cool.
I'm like, okay.
Which makes sense because their only mission at that point was to defend the Sanctum. That's it.
Yeah.
So they were only there. But the other line that I thought was really, really cool, and it was funny, but I think it had a lot of meaning, and I told you this, Lego, when Cap, which I know we're going to talk about for a long time, uses Mjolnir. And Thor like gets super happy and just yells, "I knew it."
He gets pumped.
Not only was that like a cool, funny moment, but I took that as like it really showed you how much he thought of Cap. Because this whole thing when he wasn't worthy and Odin made it so that only the worthy could do it. And it's been a big deal to him being able, like, it was a big sense of pride to him and to be able to use the hammer.
You even see it in this movie when he gets it back. He says, "I am worthy."
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like the first time we saw it, like when they're having a little competition to see who can budge it, and just very ever so slightly, Cap budges it, and you see in the background just Hulk's just like, he's like.
But then, however many movies later, I thought it was really cool because that shows like I knew he could be able to do it. Like I knew he was worthy. I knew how good of a person he was. Like,
There's
I thought that was
actually
really cool.
a theory already about why he wasn't able to budget then compared to now, and the way he redeemed himself was like Cap. What movie was it? Cap found out Bucky killed Tony Stark's parents.
Civil War, yeah.
And he kept that from him, which kind of like went against all of like whatever goodness.
Gotcha.
And since he revealed that later on, that kind of uplifted him to being worthy again. Because I mean, Cap is already all goody goody two shoes, like to the max almost, and that was like the only thing that could potentially make him unworthy.
Yeah,
so
that's really.
I actually just read it earlier today, so I don't know. I thought it was cool.
So I want to talk about hype stuff for a second. Like, what was like the most? I know we could talk about lines all day, and we'll do more of that, I'm sure. But like, as far as the most hype moment for me was that like Cap picking up Mjolnir, because I didn't see it. Like
I knew it was coming.
Well, so I knew it could happen. It's kind of like the snap for me, like in Infinite, but like times 10. Because the snap, I knew that's what the storyline was about. Thanos could do it, but I thought in my head, I was like, Disney wouldn't do that. Like, they're not gonna kill half the people. Like,
and
that's
here's
not
where
happen.
your comic book lack of knowledge comes into play, and not because I've read a lot of them, but like following them because of the MCU. That might be the snap. Might be the most iconic panel of comic ever.
Okay.
So like there was no way they weren't gonna do it. That's all.
You're right in that I didn't know how iconic it was because I knew it happened. They would do it, and then when he did it, I was like, "What? They're gonna kill half of everyone?"
They actually lost.
And the same thing with the hammer. Like I knew, like I'd heard on people's podcasts and stuff. Man, if Cap wields the hammer and says Avengers assemble, like I'm gonna lose it. And I was like, yeah, like maybe like I don't know. And I'd completely forgotten about it to the point where when the hammer gets lifted and thrown at Thanos, I was thinking in my head, like, is Vision back? Like, did something snap
that's right.
back
He did
Vision?
pick it up.
Because he's the person who could pick it up in Age of Ultron. And so that's all I was thinking. And then it comes back to Cap, and I was like, what? Like, I like lost my mind the first time I saw it.
Our theater exploded when freaking he picked up the hammer and started going at it. Not only did he pick it up, but he wielded the shit out of it too. Freaking summoned lightning and everything, and I don't know, did some Pikachu bullshit on him, and it was crazy.
It really was like the Super Smash move where Pikachu goes,
and
then it comes down.
I was just like, dude, he's going crazy on him.
The second Thor got knocked down and they showed the hammer fall away from him, I knew right there he was.
I should have. Yeah, I felt like I should have too.
I knew.
Yeah.
So real quick, that scene though, real quick, where he gets it back and spins it and jumps with the uppercut, and that's the mural scene I'm talking about. Like, it just looked like the Valkyrie scene in Ragnarok. Like, it was like a.
Do you know what else
like
it looked exactly like?
What?
The Thor Hulk scene in Ragnarok, where he uppercuts Hulk.
Yes,
it was almost exactly the
similar.
same.
Yeah.
We're talking about Valkyrie. Valkyrie came in on a freaking
Pegasus.
Yeah. That's what she does, man.
Does she have it in a Pokeball? Where does she hide that thing? I'm happy that she came swooping in, though. It was badass.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, so I wanted to talk about that, though, for a second. The way people, like, there's so many callbacks, not just in lines, but the way people fight in this movie. Like, Drax has his moment where he jumps on and does his stabby thing. Yeah. And then there's some other. So Cap, when he throws the shield and Thanos kind of knocks it away, but then he throws the hammer at the shield and does the sound wave thing. He did it on accident in the first Avengers whenever Thor hits it and he blocks it and all the trees go down next to him. So he knew that could happen. And then another one is Iron Man. He says, like, Thor, charge me up. And he does his lightning thing on the suit. That happened in Avengers as well on accident. So they kind of learn these things throughout the movie, and then you see them use it in the way they fight. I thought that was really cool.
So how about Scarlet Witch almost decimating Thanos? If it wasn't for Thanos's bitch move of calling down just
rain fire
barrage, she was straight up going to rip his ass apart.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, okay.
About to tear the limbs off.
Which in the comics, she was one of the few that actually defeated him too.
Oh wow! Okay, in the comics, there's points where she's like infinitely powerful.
Oh yeah,
she destroys all mutants.
I was about to say she's the love child of Magneto, and was there another one? Was it? I can't remember, but she is one of the top mutants.
Yeah, I mean she can she changes reality. There's a point where what is it called? The House of M storyline, I think, where she says something like I think she just says no more mutants, and it's kind of like Thanos snapping, all the mutants are just gone. Yeah, House of M.
House of M.
But the one scene that like the build up to it was really awesome, and then the payoff didn't hit for me. Was
which one?
That's what I'm getting to.
I'm anxious.
Right after he starts shooting with his ship, and then all of a sudden the ship starts shooting in the air.
Oh, right.
And everyone's like, and even Tony goes, is it Friday now?
Friday now, yeah.
Friday. What are they shooting at? And then you see, like, I don't know. It should have been so cool that but I was just kind of like, oh, it's Captain Marvel. Like I don't know, that didn't pay off to me as much.
See,
it hasn't. Go ahead, man.
I was like, in my honest opinion, I feel like she's just too powerful of an entity to bring in. Like they could have completely left her out until Phase 4, in my opinion. Like it's like if they are creeping towards a Secret War like campaign and all that, kind of like what they did to Infinity Wars and Endgame, like she could have fit in right well in there, because that's when the OP like over the top shit happens.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm with you, Hove, on that. It could have been I was still surprised, which I think was good, because I was like, wait, is it like the Ravengers coming like to help or something? Like I thought my mind was racing.
Originally that's why I was like, oh, an army of something's coming, and then it's just I'm like, oh, I guess it's her. Okay, you know.
Yeah, and so I was still surprised that it was her, and I thought it was cool going through Thanos' ship and everything. But I'm with you in that it doesn't have that emotional impact yet, and I think it's maybe because we were just introduced to her and they haven't quite, like, she filmed these scenes before she filmed the other movie.
I was about to say she only had like 5 minutes on screen in Endgame or something. It was very minuscule, and I actually forgot about her up until that point,
which I think was the point.
Honest.
They wanted you to forget about her, and she drops that line like, there are worlds that need my help, which is a good point. Like, I mean, that's her main weakness, is she's not omnipresent. That's like it.
Like she is kind of an insta-gib, so like I understand why they didn't want her there at all points.
Here's the thing that they haven't really kind of described her power really, but in the comics, and I don't think they're gonna do this whole thing, but one of them would be a very easy way to keep her from being OP. So in the comics, when she's always strong, she can fly, she's powerful, but she when she gets all glowy and super crazy powerful, that's, I think they call it like binary form. That's when she's like super extra powerful. But the way she builds her power is by absorbing energy. So like if you're not shooting her with energy shit, blasts and everything else, her power depletes. She's not always that powerful.
Interesting.
So I mean that's a pretty simple way like to keep her from being OP. Like if you don't if you just punch her and shit and you're not hitting her with any sort of like, you know, lasers or guns.
So it's kind of like a Black Panther times like 100 types like dealio.
Same idea, but it doesn't really make him, it doesn't give him his strength, but it builds up. Same idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, we have to remember that, you know, I know she wasn't in her full mental like acceptance of her powers yet, but in her movie, when she had the things on her hands, she couldn't do anything, which was kind of like, she has some limits somewhere. Like those were more mental limits, I think, in that movie, but they haven't really defined her weakness yet. And I do think she's going to have some, because they can't have just a undefeatable presence in the MCU, even though right now her weakness is what I was saying, like so far that we know she can't be everywhere at once. That's like the biggest thing. But I did think her scene was awesome where she grabs the glove and Thanos punches her and it does nothing. Like
doesn't he headbutt her?
Oh, he headbutts.
Yeah, and she's like
looks at him.
Yeah, she's like, "What are you doing?"
But then he does like cool, he does.
Well, I mean, he grabs the stone and punches her with it. That was
power stone.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm like, touche. Let's go back to the first, like the modern day Thanos. How the movie immediately just has them jumping in the spaceship and jumping his ass as he's like making breakfast.
It's shocking.
It almost made me feel bad.
Yeah, really. He's just like, he's limping, he's slowly making soup or something, and then he just busts through the freaking wall.
And he cuts his arm off, like immediately.
Yeah, immediately chop his arm off. I'm like,
I need an edit where everyone busts in the room and then the Kool-Aid guy smashes through the wall.
Oh yeah. And then beheads him.
I will say quickly, Matt Grundy said in chat, I wish they'd explain why Thanos is so powerful. Lego, we kind of talked about this.
He's one of the Eternals, right?
Like, he's the like son.
Spawn.
There was the Eternals and the Deviants that were like mutated Eternals.
Okay.
So he is the son of two Eternals, but he has the Deviant gene. Because the Eternals look like humans.
Yeah.
But if they have the Deviant gene, they look all fucked up. That's why he's all big and grimace looking.
He's a bald Chinian.
But he's like a super powerful being. Like I believe the Celestials made the Eternals. So you're talking like,
I think you're right.
The highest being so far in the MCU made Thanos' race to be like super powerful. So
Man.
Like practically like angel status type deal.
So that might be
He's okay.
we may not be done with Thanos, because when they do the Eternals movie, he may not be a character, but I bet you they reference him somehow. Even if it's just like one of them has a kid and they say like we'll name him Thanos, even though that wasn't his actual name. Doesn't matter, but it wasn't his actual name. But they
so
did.
I heard.
I'm sorry. On that,
No,
they
you're good.
did when Red Skull. You know how he always says like, "Oh, hello, Peter, son of whatever."
Yeah.
He says Thanos, son of Alars, I believe, which is the Eternal that he
Actually, I
is the
can't
son
remember
of.
that.
Interesting. What it was? I also like how he said Nat's dad's name, and she's like,
I didn't even
And
know
she
that.
doesn't
believe him, and she's like, I didn't know his name. You know, I thought it was really good. Also, there was something else in the middle there. Ronan, not Ronan the Accuser, but Ronan who Hawkeye kind of.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
So
'cause- yeah.
when he does the when he goes on his killing spree, someone pointed out on a different podcast I was listening to that the spin-off of his TV, because he's getting a TV show too, I think. And it could be present day where the Yakuza come back to get him, because he kills one of their leaders, or potentially all of them, that finishes them in this movie. But you have to remember that when Thanos snapped, he snapped 50% of the good and the bad people in the world, and that 50% of this gang's gonna come back and be like, yo, where is everyone? And they're gonna be like, this Hawkeye dude killed everyone, and they come back after him. That would be a pretty good setup for his show, potentially, and would have stakes too, with him still having his family.
I think it was supposed to be based around Hawkeye and his daughter. I think I read up or something, or maybe that may have been because she's supposed to pick up a mantle, not his mantle, but she has her own superhero that she eventually, well, at least one comic that she turns into.
Well, I think they're kind of having her take over the kind of Kate Bishop role. That was his like the female kind of Hawkeye thing. It's one of those things
maybe.
they're kind of changing. At least that's the idea, the rumor, where they're kind of changing. Similar to how Matt Grundy just said in chat, is Thanos a mutant from the race that Ego was? Ego being Peter's dad, Peter Quill. They made him a Celestial in the movies. He was just a big dude, like he was a planet in the comics. He was not a Celestial, so they kind of just play with.
I thought he was. I thought he was.
Nope.
I was talking about other, like, the emotional scenes earlier. I want to end with that, with the big one, the biggest one for me now, having seen it all and like experienced it all, isn't Iron Man or Cap or like that stuff still gets me, but the scene of everyone coming back through the portals,
absolutely,
like it emotionally like affects me, especially if you YouTube like theater reactions to that moment. Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's not even, I can't even tell you one part of it, because from the moment Cap starts to get back up, and you've seen scenes of him with his ass beat, breathing heavy, but the way his face is like extra, like he's a mess. You know, he puts the shield back on. Then you hear on your left. Then the portal opens.
Oh, so good.
Then everyone walks out slow. The one thing I will say is that is a very movie-based, contrived scene, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because all those portals were open and everyone's going to walk out real slow as the Earth's being destroyed. No, like that's not how it would happen. So I'm glad they did it that way, but like you're kind of like, what?
I'm actually surprised because, okay, since it was Cap, I'm surprised it wasn't like Bucky or someone that didn't come first. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you hear on your left first, and then Black Panther comes out first. I'm just like,
well, I think that's a sign. Like Black Panther just won, the first MCU Oscar, right? Like, so
did he?
Not like that movie is the only one that has a award for. They won for their soundtrack, I think, or something. But still, like it's like one of the most iconic. It'd either be, I think the two biggest cheers you could have gotten, and that did get in the theater, was Black Panther or Spider-Man were the two big ones that were missing. And so it had to be one of those two that came back first. I think it wasn't so much about who it meant to Cap, but who it meant to the world.
Well, not only that, but if you think about it in the sense of where everyone was coming from, if they were all lined up ready to go back into battle when that portal opened, even though Sam was the one talking to Cap, if you look at it from just being in Wakanda, if they're about to go, it's gonna be Black Panther and his people up front, and then Falcon's gonna be flying around.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was cool. Then everyone starts coming out, and then Spider-Man, and then even as you see the ones that you don't expect to be there because they weren't part of like when the Wasp and Rescue Pepper Potts comes, and then even when Giant Man comes out and puts down Thor and all them, and like everybody comes together. But that whole scene,
on the worm
even
thing.
to like even to like Thanos, after they all come back, and you're like, look at this crazy army, and Thanos just kind of like has this real like solemn look on his face, and he just points his sword, and his army starts go. Oh man, that was crazy.
Who's the Duck from the Marvel?
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Did you see him?
I
No.
did see
in
him
the crowd.
both viewings.
He's behind the Wasp when she
Really?
see a little glimpse between two characters. Dewey like looking around or whatever the fuck his name is. Howard the Duck.
Dewey the Duck.
Dewey the Duck. I don't know why I said that. I've been drinking
Dewey.
a little bit. I'm getting names mixed up.
It's from Scrooge, from the other duck.
Huey,
show.
There's a
Dewey, and
couple
Louie.
ducks running through-
Yeah, Huey, Dewey,
There's a
and
couple
Louie.
ducks in my mind.
They're
right now.
McDucks. That's McDuck. Scrooge McDuck.
I mean, crossover. The next biggest crossover.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole scene from start to finish was amazing.
So much. That's the reason I had to go back and see it in like some sort of IMAX setting. Is I wanted that experience again before it came out of theaters. It was so amazing.
It also makes sense why, and you and I talked about this, why Peter is in the previews for Far From Home. Why Peter Parker
You're alone in this.
is super sad, like doesn't want to take his suit. He looks sad looking at it. He doesn't have his Iron Spider suit because who's there to fix it and make it work again because he got all fucked up. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Also, some people brought up in that trailer that it showed Samuel L. Jackson like, oh, so finally when they were both at the funeral, but you know, in every trailer they've been editing, like changing things, and I bet you anything, the scene that he says that it's so great to finally meet you, the camera's facing Spider-Man, and you don't see Samuel L. Jackson say it. I bet that line's cut, and it's just them.
Or
you know,
keep in mind, even the way
there.
they had him walk into the funeral he was this last minute, just walked onto the porch when nobody was looking type of thing. So maybe he didn't even like make his presence known at the funeral.
Maybe, yeah. He was just all the way in the back, so.
Yeah, true. And I like that too. It was a perfect, like, some people were saying they wish there was more Samuel L. Jackson. And there's a part that it would have been awesome for one of his ships, like the invisible ships, to appear and start firing at Thanos's or something. But I thought it was perfect that given where S.H.I.E.L.D. is right now and like completely not there, for him to just come to the funeral and see everything that he put in motion from Iron Man, I can't remember what movie it was that he started getting everyone together for the Avengers, but to see his plan of protecting the world.
I mean, technically it was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, technically, I guess chronologically, but to see that come together and for him to just kind of stand back and watch all the heroes do their thing, I thought that was appropriate. Like, he's kind of the guy in charge.
So when you mentioned S.H.I.E.L.D., it just made me think of a scene. So when they went back in time and they went to the first Avengers movie where they were trying to get the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And Cap goes down into the elevator.
Yes.
With all those S.H.I.E.L.D. guys, and he knows already that they're Hydra. Yes. And he's like, "Don't worry, I got this." And he's trying to tell him that the Secretary of Defense or something like told him and he's like, no, I'm going to have to call this in. He's like, "Don't worry," and leans over like, "Hell Hydra." Oh. How crazy do you think those agents are just like?
What the heck? Yeah.
Well, that's also
America's
again
on our side.
They just did a within the last year or so a comic where Cap turns out to be a secret Hydra agent, and then you find out in the comic because there's a panel of him saying "Hail Hydra," and everyone freaked the fuck out. So that was a callback to that.
So it's a double callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
I was impressed by the number and like size, not physical size, but like
of his ass,
popularity size of the people they got to come back for cameos. Like Lego, we talked about this. Robert Red, like all the characters that made appearances before, like Robert Redford, Rene Russo,
Tilda Swinton,
even Natalie Portman, who didn't really leave the MCU on good terms. They even like just wrote her out, but she came back and was in it. that was really cool how many people they got into it that way.
It's crazy how many people.
There was a big roster of actors.
Oh my god! If you
even
look
if they
through
had
it
a
now
second,
and look at, not even counting people that became A-list because of the Avengers, like Robert Downey Jr., where he was when Iron Man came out, I would consider the Avengers franchise making him what he is today. So not counting people like him, but just huge actors that are now like Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Robert Redford, Natalie Portman. Like I said,
Thor's mother,
Renee Russo. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that was her name. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really, really, really big actors.
With all that, he still the Russos still managed to put in 2 community members into the thing. I would like whenever
Ken Jeong.
Whenever he showed up, and then also Yvette. I can't remember the last name.
Oh, she was the one that like
the elevator lady.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the real hero of Avengers Endgame though?
The rat.
The rat.
Yeah,
I knew.
Yeah. What you wonder when Doctor Strange said there's a 1 in 100 and something
14
million
something.
14 million. Yeah. If the one wasn't actually Iron Man, it was just that rat. It was just the 14 million chance that rat.
That was the only one where the rat did his thing.
Yeah.
That may have actually been all of the actual like probabilities of where did that rat go.
Yeah, I know. I would love just a little clip of like just the rat missing the button every time, and it's like 1.
Do you know what's funny about that?
Blooper reel of him going back and then just watching the rat go.
I've seen people make comments of it like we are now, like kidding about it, but it really shows you how big the movie was, because that's the type of thing I could see people really digging in and being like, this is so stupid that everything happened because a rat pushed a button. But like nobody cares in Endgame. Like,
yeah.
No, but also like it's not like it just happened a few days after everyone was snapped. It was 5 years later something finally set off the button. I don't know.
True.
5 years of them trying to cope with them thinking they failed, by the way. Too.
Yes, of not only failure, but failure going forward too. Like, not that, it's good everyone's back, but there's been 5 years of separation from those that have disappeared to those that are here now, and people's lives have dramatically changed. Anything in the MCU going forward now is going to be in this 5-year future. That like what, and also someone brought up the point, because like how are they going to film what the future looks like in 5 years? But nothing's changed because society collapsed. It's not like people are inventing new things. Like society hasn't moved in 5 years. It's just people have aged.
Wait, so someone brought up, I was reading, is like, okay, so 5 years of having half the population like just gone. So now you have the like economics and like everything being revolving around half the population, and now when they snap the fingers again, it doubled immediately.
Oh yeah.
You know how crazy the world is going to be now that they have double the people to feed immediately and take care of. Like, how crazy do you think that's going to have to be? Maybe that might be digging too a little too far. I know it's supposed to be a great thing. Oh, we got everyone back, but it's just like actual like real world scenario. Just like,
no, it's
shit.
Good,
yeah. It's like,
also the Russos or somebody, maybe it's Feige who said it, that the end of this not season, what's the word for phase? The end of this phase isn't this movie, it's Spider-Man Far From Home. That's the final wrap up, which is interesting because there are still consequences from this movie that you kind of need to see the way the world will move on after this. And I think that Spider-Man's probably going to address some of those things. Like, I bet you there's going to be a weird thing where like some of his old classmates are like in college and stuff, and he's just still in high school, or whatever.
Wait, Matt Grundy I want to know how Thanos got through the machine without a time switch watch thingy. We were actually talking about this directly after.
Oh,
Swatch
really?
Watch, man, a Swatch watch.
So he Nebula brings him the Pym particles. Like, she doesn't use them right away. She brings them to him, and the Russos have said in interviews that Thanos is like a mastermind of like, look at everything he has.
You think they just kind of duplicated it?
Like he figured out, and he had a wizard who is super smart.
Didn't she also take the other Nebula's
wristband.
watch
Yes.
thing.
That's how she got through.
Yeah,
So-
they needed a way to shrink, which is from Pym particles.
Pym particles.
So.
And they had
Yeah.
Nebula's time machine thing. So I'm sure he just
No. You need those Pym particles to time. So she had to use those,
Right.
but they had to duplicate them at some point.
right, but they also used them to shrink.
Yes, you just couldn't use. I don't
Actually,
think they had
I guess
those.
there's some time doohickery where like he could have taken like a year back in
Right.
the past, and it would have been just those few moments where Nebula walked to and fro just to restart it. So
I didn't think of that.
I guess they could have just fell back on that.
There's a lot of time things that any problem with you have, and almost take it back and be, well, how could they solve it if they had infinite time? Because that's pretty much what they had in this movie. And in any, like, Cap, what did he do? Well, he had infinite time to do whatever he did. So yeah,
It's like they almost redid the whole aspect of time travel because, like, the main laws of like whatever movie, show, whatever is like you can't interact with yourself, you can't do such.
I love they made fun of that.
Yeah, it's just like
Technically, though, none of them did end up interacting with themselves that they knew of. Because,
Except for Cap.
but Cap
well, he
thought
he
it was
was
Loki.
Right.
oh, well, Nebula.
Nebula did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it was interesting thinking of, like, I like this way of time travel a lot, but I'm also a big fan of the way Lost did it, which was whatever happened in the past happened. You can't change it, and it will happen. Even if you go back to change it, you're actually just doing what you've already done. You just don't know you've done it yet. And so, like, things that they would go back to change had already happened. It just wasn't the way
Everything
they
is
thought it was.
set in stone, even if you
Uh-huh.
think you're changing it. Mhm.
Exactly.
The thing I don't buy with what you were saying, like, everything happened. If you go back, you're just making it happen.
Mhm.
The thing I don't buy about that is then that puts you in an infinite loop.
Yes, there's an infinite loop
And
problem.
also, it's kind of picky and choosy because I guess if you're going to say that it is an infinite loop and it already happened. But first, didn't there have to have been a point where it hadn't happened yet? Like, after you were born or whatever. And
Yeah.
second, to say that if you go back, you can't change anything. I don't have any way to buy that because they just pick, okay, there's this event we're trying to change, and they say you can't change that. But literally just by being there, you have changed something.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. And I think that I'm just talking about in entertainment purposes. Like, I
Right.
like both of those, but I do agree with you. I think it's the going science, not that I am in the know or anything, but just from what I've heard from other podcasts and stuff, it's in the, like, scientific community that the way that this movie did it, where you create other realities if you were to go back, that is more so the theory, not the loop theory, because you get caught in a loop. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, see, I normally don't really like time travel a lot because they do a lot of like kind of like bull crap type, like everything becomes confusing and weird in a lot of senses.
I feel like the way they did it, which I'm surprised you weren't more familiar with, Mana, because they even like they talk about it as like the Dragon Ball Z theory of time travel because that's how they did it. That when you go back, you create other timelines. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the easiest way to get through a time travel movie without creating plot holes.
Yeah, plot holes.
Because
Yeah,
if you
get
do
away
the
from
whole,
those.
when you go back, you change your present, your future. That just, there's no way to go and fix every, like, one little thing. Then
yeah.
you run into the butterfly effect. This doesn't have the butterfly effect.
Can we talk about an alternate timeline that we haven't yet?
Is this the one where
one-
you love strippers?
No, it's the one where Thanos comes to our reality, and in his reality, there's no his army.
You just cut out.
There's no Thanos. There's no his army. There's no Gamora, no Nebula, and Quill is knocked out on a planet somewhere.
So, which was a
Wait,
hilarious
what do you mean he's
scene,
knocked
by the
out
way.
on a planet? I'm trying to think.
Like because
When he went to go and get the
War
one show
Machine
from
knocks
Guardians
him
Guardians
out.
of the
Yeah.
Galaxy,
Oh,
the first one,
yeah.
at the very beginning, he's just
Yeah,
dancing.
so-
It's like the first scene, then it goes to War Machine and
Oh,
Nebula,
yeah.
and he's just dancing.
And, yeah.
It's one of the saddest realities because he gets knocked out, doesn't get his girl, but Thanos is gone. So I don't know.
But I like that when he was like, so he's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
She's like, yeah.
Also, kind of something sad that it's like happy sad, but sad at. Oh well, anyways, but like okay, so Gamora is back, but she does, and like Peter Quill saw that and he was excited, but she doesn't know him, and he like, at the end where it shows like him and Thor on the screen,
He's
was
looking
searching
for
for
her.
Gamora, before he switches it real quick,
Yeah.
and I'm like that kind of hurts because he got her back,
sad,
but at
yeah.
the same time
That'll
he
be
didn't.
part of Guardians 3,
Oh,
and
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
fine.
For sure.
and Thor is the dude is with him,
The
so,
Asgardians of the galaxy.
the Asgardian dude
That's good. I
that
like
plays Fortnite.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about that Fortnite scene? That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh man.
That entire scene was just amazing. That was hilarious.
Master 69.
Did Korg
Noobster.
did Korg and Meek? Yeah, they did show up at the final fight.
Yeah,
didn't they?
yeah.
Okay. I love
Was
that.
that-
good?
Meek was the
He's
little
the little
squiggly
one
guy,
that,
right?
that you think is dead, and then he's not dead, and then
Did he have small arms like while he was on the couch? Did he have like?
yeah,
was
he didn't have
growing
like the
back his
knives
arms?
on him or something, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he have like
pretty
Yeah.
sure.
plants?
Was he still like growing? Like had the little Deadpool baby arms going type
Oh, I don't
deal?
know.
I don't know
I think so.
because I think at the end he was standing up though, wasn't he? Like
I don't
man.
remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, I need to go and see that movie again.
I was just focusing on Thor looking like melted ice cream. So
Thick Thor.
I will still say my absolute favorite thing is still Spider-Man. I love everything about Spider-Man. He's the best.
super
When he hugs
talkative,
when Tony
like-
hugs him, he goes, "This is nice."
Yeah.
I really like him a lot, but he wasn't my favorite.
Oh no, he's just
Like, I-
always my favorite. Even if he doesn't do
Yeah.
anything, Spider-Man is the best.
Which I finished the game, by the way.
I know, I saw on Twitter.
And the very end blew my mind.
Did you
about
do any of the DLCs? Or just the main story?
just the main story right now?
Was
I
that
really do want
was
to buy
that
it.
not like from him going to build the suit through the fight through the Aunt May scene, all that cinematics? Wasn't that as good as a top of the line movie?
Yes.
It
Actually,
was
like,
incredible.
I need to play it, man. Oh my
it
Incredible.
really messes with your emotion too, because it's almost like watching a movie, like through all that.
It was so well done. The scene with him and Doc at the end, and then the him and
Yeah.
May thing. Like I will tell you, the final scene, and I'm not even going to say that it's sad, happy, bitter. It's kind of
Yeah.
a mix of everything. But the last scene of Spider-Man will hit you as hard as any scene in Endgame.
Mm,
They did an excellent job
dang.
in that game. It's amazing. So thank you once again, Ho, for
You're welcome.
buying me
Thank
that
you
like
for
5 months ago.
Thank you for, appreciating my gift and putting it to use.
I know where this is going.
I'm gonna stop right there.
It was like I wasn't going to just stop and never play it again. It's just a lot of games came out and I got bamboozled on what to do.
I will
Okay,
say, I'm real quick. I'm very happy that
Yeah.
you finished it, Mana, and you don't need to do the DLCs, but they do build on the story. Like they do continue the story, and they have a conclusion that kind of it's cool. So if you ever get to it, it is cool. Sorry, Lego, go ahead.
No.
All right, yeah.
I was just gonna say we gotta finish with the cast. So I want to end with the scene that the kind of the movie ends with, the way it all began. The I am Iron Man, and he says that line and does the sound. Like I just thought that was perfect, especially with Strange holding up his finger, doing the one. I was like, that's it. It was such a good finish, and all his dialogue, even to Morgan afterwards through the hologram, that was also good. I thought it was such a good wrap up, like one of the best movie like wrap ups like I've ever seen. Like I can't think of anything that's been
I
better.
also another scene near the end there that kind of goes with all that hit me pretty hard was Morgan and Happy when he's like, your dad liked cheeseburgers too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he says,
That was a callback.
and he says, "I'm gonna
Yeah.
get you. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want." That was so. I was like, "Oh,
No, that was sad. Did you guys notice the kid from Iron Man 3?
Yeah,
was
we
there.
talked about it earlier.
Oh, you guys thought about it?
Crazy.
I didn't know who that one lone a kid was at first, and then I had to go back and read and watch certain things. I'm like, that's who that was. Holy crap!
I didn't even recognize it, and I had just watched Iron Man 3. And
here's
I saw
something
really?
I don't know if you saw. I told Lego about it before you got on the cast. There's rumors about whether he could come back because he was real smart and helped Tony. Blah blah blah. But the one thing that isn't a theory. In the movie, Iron Man 3, there's a scene where he says something about, well, my mom already left for the diner, and my dad went to the store to buy some cigarettes and lottery tickets. That was 6 years ago, so I guess he's not coming back. And he says to Tony, is it going to be 6 years before I see you again? How long ago do you think Iron Man 3 came out?
I don't know.
6 years ago.
No way, man.
I
They
know,
tied it in
right?
that. They tied it in that hard. Jeez,
So
Louise,
not
man.
only was he super sad that Tony left him like his dad did, even though it was different. I mean, I'm sure they left on better
Yeah.
terms.
Oh, man.
But it was 6 years till he saw him, and he saw him at his funeral.
Damn, man.
And then I said, what if he becomes a villain?
But here's what I
I'm
said
just
to
kidding,
that,
though.
man.
It won't
Here's
happen.
what I said to that. I would not buy into his villainy at all. Because what? He turned into a villain because he's mad that this guy didn't come see him because he was busy sacrificing his life to save the universe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess.
I know.
If he becomes a
just
villain,
messing.
that's just a dick villain.
I like how Man is gone for the beginning of the cast, and we're like trying to convince him of our points, like afterwards that we've already. Like,
I mean, that
hey,
was
man,
one.
I mean-
that was
I
one
mean
we
this
agreed
up. I
on. We
love
were
this.
just kind
I
of
know,
giving
we
both
agree on
points,
it,
both
yeah.
sides.
Well, okay. To end it real quick, what was y'all's like? If you could pick one moment that was like your favorite thing for the movie, what would it?
That's not fair.
No,
Oh,
come on.
boy.
Can I give a funny one?
Sure. Yeah.
When Hulk gave Ant-Man the tacos and then like happily
That was
like
so
walked
wholesome.
away with a smile on his
That
face.
That was incredibly wholesome because he
I
just
thought you
got
were
his
gonna
tacos blown away.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the Rockets line of like, I lost all my family too. I lost Drax, Quill, the girl with the antennas on her head.
Oh yeah, poor Mantis. What would be my favorite scene? What was that? It the favorite
Yeah,
scene, or
yeah.
oh
Or
god,
just one that like you loved. It didn't have to be your absolute.
there's just so many in that one movie together. God,
I
that's
know.
hard. That's really hard.
It's really tough.
I
I think mine for sure is the Cap and the hammer scene, just because I did not see it coming the way that Hove, you knew it was gonna happen.
I knew it was coming.
I completely, it left my mind for some reason, and I was thinking Vision the whole time. I was like, are they bringing Vision back? Is
I've been
Black
waiting.
Widow gonna be back? And
I've been waiting since they even teased it in Ultron that eventually Cap was gonna have to pick up the hammer. Like it just had.
I
to.
think
Also, whenever they switched, and Thor was like, "Here, give me that. You take the little one."
yeah,
one of the scenes that for some reason just caught me completely off guard was when they were trying to keep the gauntlet away from Thanos at the end. The big battle's happening, crazy stuff's happening, and it gets to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is, web slinging around, and he lands and he activates like what is
Insta-kill
that thing
mode.
where all the insta kill mode, and literally you just see is just murdering things around him, and me and my buddies were just like, that's a thing Tony put in his suit. Like what?
and they hint at it too in the Homecoming, because it activates. It goes kill mode activated, and Parker's
that's
like,
right.
no wait, no, don't.
Dude,
Because I don't want to kill anybody.
These legs just murdering them.
Yeah.
The bodies were piling up around him when he was just like holding the. I
love
was just
it.
like, my God, this 15-year-old child is just on the biggest killing spree of his life, and he doesn't realize it probably.
Man, I can't wait to watch that scene like 10 more times, because there's so many things going on in the background, like the duck, like Howard.
Howard the Duck. Yeah. Do you remember the
look
the
that
Howard
up.
the Duck movie from the early '90s?
I never saw it.
I never saw
It's
it.
an
yeah.
awful movie.
That's what I heard.
who
That's
was
why I
it?
never went back to try and see it.
I'm trying to think who was in it. Pretty big actress. I forget who it was though. Also, another scene. I know Lego. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Whenever after it's all over and Peter goes back to school, when everybody else is just going about their day, and Peter and Ned are the only two that like really know what happened. Like Ned sees him for the first time. Like picture your Ned. Take it from his point of view. You don't know exactly what happened, but you know that that your friend Peter there went through some crazy universal ending fight. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know that he
Yeah.
was there, and you're like, oh my god, you're alive and you did it. Like that's
Yeah.
really cool.
There's my best friend. He's a freaking superhero, and
And
we're
he-
all alive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because of him, not
that's-
solely him,
That's
but
crazy. Yeah, but he took place in that fight, and you just know it, and you're like, dude, well, what can you say without letting anyone else know? It'd be the hardest thing because they're in freaking high school.
well, I guess Ned got snapped, right? Otherwise, he'd be like 21.
Yeah, he had to have.
For sure, yeah.
I guess him and MJ.
And
so,
MJ.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think would be really funny? Because you know how they fake stuff out in the trailers? Wouldn't it be hilarious if who's the guy Flash who is the jerk all the time? I think he's Flash.
Oh yeah.
Flash Thompson.
Not Flash, the DC character. That's just his name. And wouldn't it be so funny if they faked the trailer and really like he didn't get snapped and has lived the past 5 years and he's like way older and he's like still the same jerk,
He's
but
still
they
a
like
dickbag.
He just failed 5 years.
Yeah, he either failed 5 years
Jesus.
or they didn't have school
He's
because the
still in
government
high
shut
school.
down.
He's like
or something.
22.
Yeah,
Oh
that would
my
just
God.
be awesome.
I wonder how that actually worked, since like you think like the governments just went down all that like public schools, like
I think didn't Black Widow drop a line of I keep wanting to say Scarlett Johansson, but when I say Scarlett, I say witch, and so I can't. I gotta like be careful. But she drops a line that's like, governments have tried to keep up, but they haven't really, or something like that. Maybe
it's just like
school
depending
has
on where
happen.
you maybe it just depends on where you are and how great your society's thriving or something.
Matt Grundy in chat says, "I bet that Ned was Noob Master 69."
I don't know. He seems more chill. I bet you it was
Yeah,
Flash.
I think it was more Flash could have
Yeah.
been Noob Master.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or Mana.
Or man. Okay. Well, I think that's it.
I still want to keep talking.
I know, I do too, but we've gone like 15 minutes over our normal time. So thank
Well,
you for joining
Avengers
us.
Endgame
Just
was a
narrate
half
the
hour
entire
longer
movie.
than the other.
I
than Infinity War,
I know. Thanks for joining us for 132, our 10-minute Destiny podcast and like 2-hour in-game review.
Do either of you guys have a hammer and some steel, so we can end the podcast with you banging on it 3 times?
That would be great.
Oh.
I think I'm just going to say a different line, but
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yes,
do
the
know what you're
in-game
talking about,
game.
yep.
This is
Okay.
so good.
The little Easter egg.
This has been Lego, aka Legoli Flash. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You can find me crying in my room thinking about these amazing
Thinking about me.
scenes. And Hove. Mana, where can they find you?
You can also find me weeping about this weekend because between Game of Thrones and Endgame, there's a lot of emotions.
Can I
going
tell
for
you
me.
that Game of Thrones episode was the most disappointing thing on TV?
I know you were disappointed.
We can't talk about this right now because I feel like you will have a lot to say about it.
I feel like he does. To be fair, the tactics that they I was just
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were
we're not
trash,
gonna talk
though,
about
but
it.
anyways.
We can talk about it next week.
all right, but you can find me at the Man of Garrett Twitch, Twitter. That's it. That's it. How about you, Tried? Oh, you can find me.
Oh wait. Ooh.
So not only did I get skipped for Mana, but I got skipped for people who aren't even here.
I'm sorry.
You can find me doing anything immediately after Mana does it, apparently.
No. Is this like a Nebula thing, like same universe, y'all like share connection kind of thing? No. Okay.
I mean, we're in the same universe, Lego. You're here too.
I was about to say, am I not in the same universe? This Discord is some
In one
this
of
is
the
crazy
in
shit.
one of the alternate timelines, Mana grows goat legs and moves to Narnia.
What did he say? Did you hear what
I
he
don't
said?
know. We lost it in our
You got
timeline.
centered. He
We got
grows up.
sent to a different timeline for a second.
I said in one of these alternate dimensions, Mana grows goat legs and moves to Narnia. and in
And then
and
Reed
in a-
grows a ponytail and becomes.
and then in another one, he becomes a martial arts movie star master. Changes his name to Steven. I'm Hove. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Hove76. Here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. doing the RezoCast thing. Ooh, Kim made a good point in chat. We should have like a Rezo verse.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty much
Okay.
just like strippers and blow everywhere.
Well, you might have to go to another reality for that for some of you.
That escalated.
For the rest of us in this reality, you can get yourself some of these Blue microphones and headphones we've been using tonight. Go to bluemic.com. Our lovely sponsors will give you 20% off for using code RezoCast in their checkout.
Yeah, they won't give you hookers and blow, but you can use that 20% savings to buy some.
Nope, they will not. You can also find RezoCast on Twitter at RezoCast, and you can find Team Resolute at Team Resolute on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you at RezoCast. Your thoughts on Marvel in particular. Maybe not yet. Monday, the Russos said it's like cool to do spoiler stuff after Monday. That's the official.
Oh, Monday. That's
their
the
official.
like publicly you can put memes out and stuff.
Can we at
they're
some
lifting
point
the internet embargo of.
Yes.
Can we at
Okay.
some point? I thought about asking this week, but it would have been too quick. We should do like just one night, no editing, nothing, just a short. Even if we just make it live. A short, just Marvel, like a side cast. Like, we should have done it for Endgame, but like maybe a Where's Phase 4 go in or something. That would be fun. I don't mean weekly. I just mean
down.
like once.
I'd be down. Yeah,
I'd be
for
down.
Sure.
We need to catch Wilson up on everything so he can join.
He'll probably hate
Catch him
being
up
there.
on 21 movies.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a good ass binge.
and like
if you ask
80
me.
years of comics.
It is a really good binge.
All right, comics. We can calm down on the comics. We can just Google a couple things for the comics, but movie-wise, I'm talking about cinematically. So.
Oh, big word. Proud of you.
Yeah, that was good. Until next time, y'all.
Cinematically. It's like
Love you
almost-
3000.
Oh god,
That's
don't.
all of my brain cells.
Part of me is sad now, and part of me wants to throw up. GG. Bye.